The opening action of the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. We're at the Olympic Stadium, the Hongzhuan Zhou, for the opening morning session. Slightly overcast in Rio today, but still as warm as ever as we head towards winter here. High humidity. Not much of a breeze at the moment, though. That can change. Great enthusiasm at the opening ceremony from the host nation, from the home supporters, and we're expecting much the same throughout the 10 days of track and field athletics at the Olympic Stadium, the Hongzhuan Zhou. We've got 5 finals in the opening session, starting off with the men's 5,000 meters T11. That's complete visual impairment, lots of home interest in that. Also finals in the men's shot put F32, that's one of the seated silver ballsy categories. The men's discus throw F52, men's long jump T11 and men's shot put F12 as well, they're visual impairment categories. Lots of heats as well for later finals. And generally the sessions we're expecting throughout the competition to last around 3 hours. Nigh on 300 medal events in the athletics over the 10 days.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and the platform really was laid with that colourful and moving opening ceremony last night. The buzz around the city today is one of pride and anticipation. They really enjoyed the show that they put on last night, and we are looking forward to the show of sport that's to come. And straight up, Will, as you say, we've got a chance in this men's 5,000 metre T11 straight up final for a medal for Brazil. Odair Santos is a genuine chance, and we think this crowd might have something to cheer about pretty much straight away.
Well, you can see with a lot of the crowd, the national colours are on. It's amazing the amount of football jerseys, sports jerseys that you see around Rio de Janeiro.
We'll kick it off with the men's 5,000. We've got field events to bring you with shot put, discus and long jump. And races for visually impaired athletes in the women's 100, 1,500, men's 400. And some exciting wheelchair racing towards the end of this opening session as well. A tremendous honour for these athletes to be first out on the track in the 5,000. And Will, who do you like here? It's a fairly open field, but a couple of these athletes have got the quicker times.
It's quite a strong field. We've got the reigning Paralympic Games champion in this. We're looking at the moment at Nuno Alves, who is the former European champion. The reigning European champion from Turkey is also in this. And a couple of former world and Paralympic champions here too. 6 of the field, out of the starting 10, have got a major title to their name in their career. And we do have the reigning European, Paralympic and Asian champions competing in this. They're raring to go. It's a T11 final, so it is complete visual impairment. All the athletes are blind. 5,000 meters, we'll be expecting them to go around the track in just over a quarter of an hour.
Athletes from Portugal, Chile, Kenya, Japan, Brazil, Ecuador, China, Turkey. And the presence of a couple of Kenyan runners always makes you think, will it be them? Sometimes they bring times to the competition that we know about, and sometimes they can run a bit quicker.
So here it is, the final of the men's 5,000 meters T11 to get Rio 2016 underway. The world record from Beijing, from Athens in 2004 for Kenya, Henry Wanyoke. But he now in the past in terms of this event, though Kenya do have a couple of very good prospects in this final. Represented by Eric Sang, Samuel Kamani and Wilson Bai. All of the athletes in this final with guides. 3 categories of visual impairment. In the T13, which is least visual impairment, no guides at all. The middle one, they're optional. Some prefer to go with, feel they're a bit faster. You'll find as well, for the uninitiated, that in the women's races, just about all the guides are men, because they're the only ones who can pretty much keep up with the fastest women in the world.
And Will, the feeling out of that other sports carnival a couple of weeks ago was that this track is reasonably quick.
Yes, we had a couple of world records on the track, some very impressive ones. So in the men's 400 meters and the women's 10,000, a few world records in the field as well. But generally at every major IPC Athletics Championship, even the continental ones, the regional ones, we tend to get our fair share of world records in that. So we have enough events in which to clock up an impressive amount of World and Paralympic Games records. There are a couple in this field who are enjoying their major championship debut. The aforementioned Eric Sang of Kenya and Darwin Castro of Ecuador. And it being the first event of hundreds, all of the different athletics officials making sure everything's perfect to set the standard. So here's our starting lineup of 10 for the men's 5,000 meters T11 final. In this, the reigning Paralympic Games champion from Chile, Christian Valenzuela, the Asian champion, Shinya Wada of Japan, and the reigning European champion from earlier this year in Grosseto in Italy, Hassan Hussein Kassar of Turkey. Also in this, the former Paralympic Games champion, Shang Shen of China, the former world champion, Odair Santos of Brazil, who's a very good prospect in this. He didn't finish in Doha, but he did get back on the track later in the week to win gold in the 1,500 meters. It was very hot and humid in Doha. There were very few morning sessions there. There were very, very long evening sessions. And even though it was well away from the summer, it was still knocking on 40 degrees Celsius, well over 100 Fahrenheit for each evening session. 6 of the 10 with major championship titles to their name. It's going to be competitive. And Steve, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so. We got a good field here, and we've got Brazil involved in the opening race. We've got a nation and a city that's really taken a big, deep breath after the Olympics and is really ready and excited about the Paralympics. A lot of good messages delivered, I felt, during the opening ceremony about what was to come and what was expected of the athletes, and the force for social change that the Paralympics can be. And it's always a great thing to see big crowds at Paralympic events. Only a modest one first up this morning, but it'll build throughout the session and into the evening. It's a work day, of course, that public holiday for the opening ceremony, because it coincided with Independence Day, which I thought was a delicious coincidence, or perhaps a bit more than coincidence, that Brazil's Independence Day shared the spotlight with the opening of the Paralympic Games. The athletes in these events will with eye covering.
Yes, they all have to wear blindfolds just to be absolutely certain that there is complete visual impairment, and all of the eye patches as well are pre-checked by the officials. All of the athletes are classified as well before each major international competition. And in quite a few cases in the T11, you'll have athletes who have previously been T12, T13, where the eyesight has been better. In a couple of cases where they have competed, take the case of Jason Smith, for example, who's in the 100 meters T13 here, which is least visual impairment. He's on the IAAF circuit as well.
Odair Santos ran under 15 minutes in the T13 class in Beijing. And he won a bronze medal, silver in Athens. But, some of these eye conditions are, of course, degenerative, so they move through the classes, and now complete impairment in the T11 class. for these runners. And they're just running a little bit behind schedule, but we'll forgive them that on the opening morning in the very first race as everybody gets themselves organised and into the rhythm of competition. But we're pretty close to a start now.
In a way, it's almost to be expected. There is a history in the Paralympic Games of having a long track race to get things underway in the opening session, but throughout the rest of the week we'll be getting underway with heats and sprint races. All is just about set then for this men's 5,000 meters T11 complete visual impairment. A lot of the athletes are obviously used to competing against each other at major championships too. Nuno Alves, who was front of the pile, mention him in a moment. Here's Hassan Hussein Kassar, 28 years old, the reigning European champion from Grosseto, won silver in the 1,500 meters as well. His guide, Mohamed Ugur Sakir, silver in the 5,000 of the previous Europeans in Swansea. Bottom tier of the far side, the back straight is just about full. Here's Wilson Bai of Kenya with his guide Bernard Kerr, who previously competed at London 2012 but didn't finish in the 5,000 meters. Former Paralympic Games champion from Beijing in 2008 in the 1,500 and the 5,000. He's a journalist in Shenyang. Shangzhen. His guide is Sheng Minyang. For Ecuador. Flag bearer for the Pan Am Games last year in Toronto, where he won bronze in the 5. That's Darwin Castro. And his guide, Sebastian Romero. Big cheer for this man. Lot expected of Odair Santos. He's got 2 guides here, Carlos Santos being the first. Reigning 1,500 meters champion, having failed to finish in the 5,000 meters final in the big heat. 3 golds in Lyon in 2013. Samuel Kamani, the reigning Paralympic 1,500 meters champion from London, and his guide, James Boyett, alongside the reigning Asian Games champion, Shinya Wada of Japan, and his guide, Takashi Nakata. Reigning Asian Games champion in 8, 15 and 5,000 meters. Major championship debut for the Kenyan, Eric Kiptu Sang. His guide is Bernard Kipkuri Terer. Coach Albert Correa, who's an IAAF international athlete. Here is the reigning European champion, Christian Valenzuela. I do not see, by the way, the reigning Paralympic Games champion. We don't see him. He's supposed to be there between the Kenyan and the Portuguese being Nuno Alves, who didn't finish in the world final.
Well, Valenzuela not at the start line.
Well, that is a turn-up. We're not sure what's happened with Valenzuela. So it's 9 to get us underway in a quick head count. 9 athletes. It's Alves of Portugal, it's Sang of Kenya, Wada of Japan, Kamani of Kenya, Santos of Brazil, Castro of Ecuador, Shang of China, Wilson Bai of Kenya, and Hassan Kassar of Turkey. And remember, in terms of the call room, the rules are a lot stricter these days. It happened in Doha. Quite a number of athletes, top athletes, didn't make to the start line. They weren't in the call room in time and they were disqualified. We can only speculate what's happened with Valenzuela, but the reigning Paralympic champion will not be champion here in Rio.
Wilson Bai took it out pretty promptly in the first couple of 100 meters, but now it's settling back towards the field, and 3 towards the back. Already a bit of a break from the front 5 to the next 4. And Bai happy to take up the running with his guide, Bernard Correa.
It's Bai and Sang, 1-2 at the moment for Kenya. Quite tight. In fact, all the Kenyans have decided to go out together at the moment. The guides act as, if you like, course commentators. Tell them where everybody is. Sang, Kimani and Bai, the leading 3 for Kenya at the moment. Expect to move up to Bruno Alves, very pacey athlete. The fastest time in terms of lifetime best belongs to Odair Santos, who's perched nicely in 4th place at the moment. He's going to get a huge amount of support in the back straight. Lots of bodies in this closing straight. with the guides perched in, but they'll generally each run to their own pace. You'll see that there was a chance of a breakaway for the top 4, but it's 6 ahead of the rest at the moment. Also up there is Kasar of Turkey, the European champion from Grosseto in Italy back in June, which was wonderfully well supported. That and the World Championships in Lyon have provided us the best crowds, definitely at major championships since London 2012. So at the moment, a leading 6-3 from Kenya, the Portuguese moving up, the Brazilian there as well, and one from Turkey also.
So the Kenyans have it between them at the moment. And perhaps just deciding that a bit of a team race between the three of them, that they can take team tactics into it. Often see this with the Kenyan runners. You get 2 or 3 into a final, and they act as a team within the race. But the field just starting to stretch out a little now, and you think that the back 2 or 3 aren't a great medal shot at the moment. But Zhang right there for China behind the Kenyan runners. The Kenyans with that easy, familiar style. Zhang sitting in 4th and perhaps looks a little laboured, but also a little taller, and good long stride when he stretches out.
Well, they won't be going a very full belt very early on. There's still 10 laps to go in this men's 5,000 metres final, but they will all be going to a particular preordained plan. Kenya 1, 2, 3. Zhang in the black there for China. Odair Santos for Brazil, getting tremendous support from the home crowd. And now a little bit of a move coming from Odair Santos on the outside. But you can see, obviously, with the guides, how congested it is getting there, because we've got 12 athletes in such a small space. And obviously, a lot of the time, the leading athlete in the inside lane, his guide will be in lane 2, so you'll have to go out to lane 3, largely to try and overtake. And you can see at the moment our lead athlete Sang is actually himself his way out in lane 2, Bai just on his inside, and then the other Kenyan athlete Kimani just tucked in behind. But Zhang is happy with where he is at the moment. Santos 2 for Brazil in 5th place. A little bit of a move up from the European champion Hassan Hussein Kasar of Turkey as well in 6th place. He did very, very well in Grosseto. It was an interesting style he had, and in the World Championships in Doha last year, he'd led for quite a bit in the 1500 metres final, took bronze in the end, bronze in the 800 metres, didn't finish the 5,000. He was one of the leaders in that, but it was so hot and they had to have that race as late on in the day, towards 10 p.m. in Qatar. But there were a lot of dropouts in that 5,000 metres final. Bit of a gap developing. He's falling back in 6th place, around 10 metres behind Santos in 5th. But right now, I think everybody looks to be happy with the pace they have, Sting.
9 competitors, but as you say, 18 runners, and it can be a bit congested, especially when athletes try to make a move. But single file at the moment. Santos certainly hasn't played himself out of the race, still in that leading group of 5. And Wada of Japan just back off that pack, so ground to make up for Wada and his guide Takashi Nakata. Sang leads it out for Kenya. Just saw in the back straight before with a little hand signal from one of the Kenyan guides to his fellow competitor behind him. So a bit of communication happens out there.
Kenya 1, 2, 3. The teamwork is working very well. I just noticed, by the way, from our live results system, Jonathan Balados was due to be the guide for Christian Valenzuela, and that's suddenly come up as an NA, so I just wonder if the guide perhaps had got injured ahead of the event. In the 5,000 metres, some athletes are allowed too, but we can only speculate. Perhaps Valenzuela's guide had a problem in the run-up to it, but there's no problem for Kenya at the moment. They're dominating this. They've never had a 1, 2, 3 in this event. They obviously dominate, along with Ethiopia, in the longer events in the IAAF circuit, or at least did until the likes of Mo Farah came along. But they look very, very comfortable in this at the moment. Heading up with 7 laps to go.
You know, as they make their way along that well-populated back straight, Will, there's a big noise goes up for Santos, who's sitting nicely at the moment behind the Kenyans. And if he can ride the wave of support that we felt last night at the opening ceremony and is here in the stadium.
Been a major move by Santos. He's moved up into 4th place behind the Kenyan trio, then a bit of a gap back towards Zhang in 5th place, and then a large gap back down into 6th place for that European champion, Hassan Kassar. So it's looking like a Kenya-Turkey duel for now with less than 7 laps to go. Zhang has kept his pace up very well, and at the moment the rest have fallen back quite considerably. And also for the uninitiated, and maybe your first time watching this in 4 years, maybe your first time watching this overall, but when they cross the line, the athlete has to cross the line first at the finish ahead of the guide, otherwise it's disqualification.
We just saw then the change of the guide there, Will, happening for Santos.
So Santos had the other Santos alongside him, and he swapped him out now, which are allowed at distances at 5 and 10. The 10,000 meters, when it is run, would tend to go on beyond half an hour. Zhang doesn't seem to have the same smoothness of rhythm as he did earlier, but certainly the top 4 do.
So Kenya 1, 2, 3, as it's been almost from the opening lap when Wilson Bai took it out strongly and his teammates settled in behind him. Samwe Kamani and Eric Sang. Kassar, Turkish competitor there. Wada of Japan just back now in the field, and a little chance, it would seem, of catching our front 4, and it's turned into a race in 4 with the 3 Kenyans and Odair Santos of Brazil. 8.5 minutes of competition behind them already.
So tightly bunched, the leading 3 for Kenya, with Santos well perched in 4th place, and he knows that most of the support is for him. But as for the Kenyans, Kimani, Sang, Bai, they've kept pretty much the same pace, and it hasn't even been a situation that they've changed positions. It has been Sang leading, Bai in 2nd, Kimani 3rd for much of this. And you can obviously see a little bit of care as well, that they're keeping well out from the curb. We had a few athletes actually trip up on the curb during the Olympic Games. They're making sure that doesn't happen. Right now, our leading trio are all in lane 2, and Santos is in lane 1. Obviously, there's still 5 laps to go. There's no reason for him to try and accelerate on the inside now, but he is trying to keep the pace up on the outside, and it looks quite comfortably that it is these 4. There's Kassar back in 6th. Wada of Japan is back down in 7th place, and then in 8th, wearing the gold singlet for Ecuador, is Darwin Castro. Another little bit of swapping of guides happening, you'll see there. That is for the 3rd placer for Kenya, Samuel Mushai Kimani. James Boyd is one of his guides. But there's been no change in position of that top 3, and Santos is obviously happy where he is as well in 4th.
It won't surprise if Sang, Kimani and Bai for Kenya just try and lock out the Brazilian Santos from the medals. And if they can bring it home 1, 2, 3, see what tactics evolve over the final few laps. Santos sitting in a very nice position and maybe just shifting to the outside now, thinks about it and slots back in behind the 3rd of the Kenyans.
If you just look at Santos's guide, he's been in full communication with him. There may have been a chance a couple of laps ago for him to sneak on the inside, but definitely there's really good communication, as has to be the case. It's a T11 category, it's complete visual impairment, but he's getting a very good commentary on Odair Santos from his guide.
Santos with a personal best of 15 minutes 16:82, best time in the field, but the Kenyans 1, 2, 3, and we're not really surprised. Such is the pedigree in this great long-distance racing nation.
Yeah, they've had to miss a couple of IPC Athletics World Championships in the past, particularly Leon. Quite a few of the African nations, strong African nations, couldn't make it because of funding issues. And the interesting thing about Santos's lifetime best, it came this year. He's the fastest in the field, not just overall, but he's the fastest this year with that 15:16. And he's had the grace in the past, the triple world champion from Lyon in 2013, for Brazil. Only a silver in the 1500 meters at London 2012, behind Christian Valenzuela. But he's got the rhythm, he's got the pace, and we've got 3 laps to go. And the main race is set to start shortly, about 70 meters back to Zhang of China in 5th place. Hassan Kassar of Turkey's in 6th.
And Wada there of Japan. Santos just for a moment looked like he was losing touch with the front 3. The danger for him is that the lead Kenyan runner, a couple in front, can make a move, and there's a block between Santos and the front. But Santos shifts to the outside now, looking to make a move. And he's being forced wider, and there's nearly a tangle of feet and a fall, but Santos brushes to the front.
What a move by Santos, and it was in that back straight where all the Brazilian crowd are. He can feed off the energy. What a brilliant triple overtaking motion. There was a little bit of bumping, but it was largely done clean by Santos. And now the Kenyans in 2nd, 3rd and 4th have got a little bit of a move to make, and what their tactics will be now, moving back, pushing back a bit, is Kimani in 4th place. Now there's a bit of jostling in position, bit of a push up in 3rd place. Kimani's been forced wide. Kimani moving up, he has moved up brilliantly from 4th into 2nd place. It's Santos who leads with 2 laps to go for Brazil. Kimani in 2nd place. The other 2 Kenyans now push back in 3rd and 4th, and that's Sang and Bai. There's going to be a bit of lapping to do as well. But Santos has got more support, rousing the crowd on the far side with 700 meters to go. And we've a Brazilian leader in the fast track event, but will there be a Brazilian winner?
I have to say Santos looks very composed, very strong, as he moves around one of the slower runners and keeps his lead in front of the 3 Kenyans. Well, he took the problem of how to get to the front out of the equation by moving past all 3 on the back straight on the previous lap. And Santos looks good, but what's he got left? As they come round into the home straight once more, Santos with 3 Kenyans breathing down his neck. Well, only 2 really, as 1 has dropped off the pace.
We've got 500, less than 500 meters to go now in the first track final of the Paralympics, Rio 2016. Santos's guide looks up at the big screen. He knows where the movement's coming from behind, and it's coming from Kimani. Here's the bell. They go through in 14-14, and it's 1 from Brazil, and effectively it's 1 from Kenya now. The rest have fallen back. Sang is back in 3rd place. It's a good battle this for gold, and it'll have Brazilian interest for the Brazilian crowd on the opening day here. And it's Kimani for Kenya. It's Santos leading the way for Brazil, and now the crowd are getting very agitated on the far side, and they're on their feet. There's 250 meters to go. Santos fighting very hard against Kimani. The guys will have a big part to play here as well. Half a lap to go, and it's a Brazilian who leads. Kimani trying to make a move on the outside, and he is making a move on the outside. And did Santos move too early? Kimani's done brilliantly here. Does Santos have anything left on the track? Kimani goes out in front. They're all out in lane 2 at the moment. Into the closing straight in the 5,000 meters. Santos is having to go out in lane 3, but it's Kimani who's coming through to win this for Kenya, the first gold of the Paralympic Games. And Kimani crosses the line with Santos in 2nd place for Brazil. And it looks like Sangu's coming through in 3rd place for Kenya. So Kenya gold and the bronze. Brazil get the silver, and what would have been a fairy tale for the host nation in the opening track final of Rio 2016. Well, they get a silver in the end because it's Samuel Kimani who takes the gold for Kenya. What a brilliant race that was in the end.
I don't think Odair Santos left anything on the track. He gave it absolutely everything, but was overrun by Samuel Kimani in the last couple of 100 meters. Really started to overtake in a less than ideal situation. Around the bend, was covering quite a lot of ground to do it, but he had enough left. And Samuel Kimani takes gold for Kenya, but a silver medal for the host nation, Brazil.
It was a very, very fast time as well. Castro is finishing as well. He's down and around 8th place. Kimani has taken half a minute off his lifetime best, and it's only 5 seconds off the world record set in Athens 12 years ago by Henry Wanyoke. He's actually also beaten the lifetime best set by Odair Santos earlier this year. Santos was just outside that. It was a brilliant performance in the end. Wilson Bai coming through in a lifetime best as well in third place, but it's Samuel Kimani with his guide James Boyd takes the gold medal for Kenya, and it looked as if Santos had made the break at the right time.
So across the line comes Nuno Alves of Portugal, Ricardo Abreu, his guide, and the pace a little bit hot today for the 41-year-old. But a great tactical race from the Kenyans, and a terrific effort from Odair Santos to split them, and it really looked like a 1-2-3 was on the cards.
Excellent race, and that even without the reigning Paralympic Games champion Christian Valenzuela. Big overtaking motion coming with 150 to go. Samuel Kimani timed it absolutely right. He was guided very well by James Boyd. Overtook Odair Santos. They will be absolutely enthused within the crowd, the fact that they managed to get a medal on the opening morning in the opening race. Sang, by the way, who I thought to come in third place, he's dropped off the results page at the moment. He may be put back in. I thought he came in third place. Bai's been given third for now, but Kimani, absolutely no doubt about the success, and 15 minutes 16 for him is absolutely exceptional. Santos just behind. It wouldn't have been a dream for him to get gold in the opening race, but it's Kimani's dream in the end, and the three Kenyans, Kimani, Bai and Sang, are enjoying their own personal lap of honour.
Kimani, 1500 gold medalist in London, silver in the 1500 in Beijing, and if he's in form here, as he certainly appears to be, having picked up a gold medal already, then he may have a very profitable games indeed. But for Santos, it was a very hot pace. 15, 16, 11 for Kimani, just shading, as you said, Will, the personal best time of Santos. So it took a great time to keep the Brazilian out of top place on the podium.
We're just waiting for the results to be calibrated, because at the moment, Eric Sang is not on the results. And he definitely finished well ahead of the likes of Kassar and Zhang. Zhang fell back to fifth in the end, actually. Wada was in sixth place, having done so well for Japan for a lot of the competition. Zhang in that black Chinese singlet found himself falling back, but Kenya, well, very, very impressive. And they're all getting involved in the celebration here.
Three of the top four setting personal bests.
Zhang has got an Asian record, a regional record, 15:53. New Asian record for the Chinese, but for these three Kenyans, a lot to celebrate. Unfortunately, the flag's not quite big enough for Sang, but he's still fully involved anyway.
It's a very exciting start to the competition. Well, what a great race. It wasn't a runaway winner. We had a great contest through the closing laps, and the glorious uncertainty of sport. You just don't know who's going to win, and that really adds to the theatre. And it's going to be a theatre of dreams, and for some disappointments, but what a cracking start to the competition with the men's 5,000 T11.
It's very, very tight along the way. Really close in the end between the top. The four, particularly that brilliant joust for the gold medal. Kimani, our first champion of Rio 2016 on the track. Perhaps across all the other sports as well. First field final of these Paralympic Games is the men's long jump T11, and again these athletes complete visual impairment. They are entirely blind, and the great Lex Gillette, major champion right across the board, at Paralympic Games and World Championships. Certainly one to watch in this final. And they're being introduced to the crowd one by one. From Barcelona, this is the reigning European champion, Javier Porras. They all have guides here as well. And there's a much longer takeoff platform too. The guides will basically stand right in front of the sand, and there'll be a certain kind of rhythmic clapping. This is Mehmet Tunk of Turkey, silver in the 200 meters at the Europeans in Grosseto, his first major championship medal. He's never medaled in the long jump previously, but can obviously change that here. Another man from Barcelona, clubmate of Javier Porras. I believe they have the same coach, Martin Pareko. For Ukraine, Ruslan Katishev. It's the reigning Paralympic Games champion and European champion in Swansea 2 years ago. For Algeria, Firas Bentria. Bronze in the triple jump in Lyon at the World Championships 3 years ago. Chen Jingzhu of China, 6:20 his lifetime best. He's a prime candidate also. Vietnam had various successes at the inaugural Asia Oceania Championships in Dubai in April. Xingju Ngoc Ngoyen. This is one of the great stars of parasport, though, for the United States, the world record holder, and one of the favourites too, Lex Gillette. For Chinese Taipei, Yang Chuanhui. 6:20 his lifetime best as well. Big cheer coming for this man. For Brazil, Ricardo Costa de Oliveira. And for Azerbaijan, Elshin Muradov. They've got a developing program there. They were the nation that staged the European Games a year ago. Muradov for Azerbaijan. And you'll see it's a much wider takeoff area, and they measure from the takeoff point, the final indentation and the chalk dust, to obviously the first one in the sand.
So it's an interesting competition to watch. We've got a number of field events this morning going on with shot put and discus. The men's long jump. Hoping to be able to bring you some of this fascinating action and to see if Lex Gillette can live up to his favouritism, but the pressure of Paralympic competition, we'll see how he handles that. But this was Kimani for Kenya as his guide releases the tie and his arms aloft.
And here is the result of that 5,000 meters, and Sang, as you'll see, has been disqualified. Kimani with the gold, Santos the silver, and Bayu crossed the line in fourth place, awarded the bronze. 15 minutes 16, the winning time. Back onto the track, and we've got heats in the women's 100 meters T11. Along the way here, one of the great parasport stars, 4 in each heat. And it's the winner and the next 4 fastest losers who advance to the semi-finals. Teresina Guillemina, the world record holder from London 2012. More about her presently.
Well, she'll be in the third heat, and these runners with guides as well in the T11 category. Jia Junting Zhan, who won gold for China in the 4x100 meters relay in Doha at the World Championships. Salvatini Spalladore of Brazil. She won bronze in the long jump at the Para Pan Ams in Toronto last summer, silver in the long jump in Doha. Long jump world champion in Lyon in 2013, former ballet dancer. Lea Bale Quintana of Spain, her guide, is her partner, David Alonso. So that he's not being over-familiar. From Burgos in Spain. Jia Junting Zhan, bronze in the 200 meters at London 2012, but mainly her best individual medals have been in the long jump. World champion in that in 2011 in Christchurch. And for Colombia in lane 7, Sonia Luna Rodriguez, her major championship debut
with her guide, Wilmar Cabrera. And again, complete visual impairment. They'll wear the blindfolds just to make sure. And there are 4 heats in this. Salvatini Spoladore lost her eyesight at the age of 6, was born with glaucoma, and it gradually disimproved. Jia, not the fastest in the field. She has good form on the track, 12:39, a lifetime best set this year, but it's Salvatini Spoladore who's improved on that since then, 12:24, the world record from Guillermina's 12:01.
Four heats in the women's 100 T11. This is the first of them. Salvatini Spoladore of Brazil in lane 1. It'll be a big roar for her as this one gets us underway with the sprints.
So Salvatini Spoladore in 1, Bale Quintana 3, Jia 5, Luna Rodriguez 7. Away first time, what a start it was by Zhou of China in lane 5, and Salvatini of Brazil is coming back quite well, and it looks like Salvatini Spoladore's got it for the moment, just fighting and fighting, and it is Salvatini Spoladore who wins for Brazil, with Zhou in second place. We have a Brazilian qualifier for the semi-final straight away, 12.49. That time has been rounded down to. Very good start by Zhou. But Salvatini Spoladore, once she got herself running into the second sector of that race, she wasn't going to be denied. And somebody whose best results have previously come in the long jump. She's obviously taking a note out of the book of Teresina Guillermina as well, with the fabulous blindfold. But what a fabulous result for her as well. 12:49, comfortably, automatically into the semi-finals.
Well, Salvatini Spoladore made a wonderful start. Cross in the inside lane, but the answer came quickly from Ji Jiangqian and looked like she was going to run down the Brazilian Salvatini, but Salvatini had just enough in lane 2 to pip China's Jia. Stride for stride, and the second late burst from Salvatini sees her across the line first and through to the next round. I do like the name of her guide, Renato Ben-Hur Oliveira.
Back in the picture houses again, isn't it? Salvatini Spoladore wins alongside Ben-Hur Oliveira, 12.49. Jia Jungsung Tan in second place, and she'll have to wait to see if she goes through as the fastest loser. It's the best 4 of those who qualified. Lots of track action in this opening session, as will be the case across all 10 days. Lots of field action as well. Normally, we can expect to have 3 or 4 field finals going on simultaneously. You'll notice in that previous race, by the way, how the Chinese guide Shi Yang was leading the way of Jia and then just had to step back on the line to make sure he didn't cross first. For those of you who may be new to the sport, guides not allowed to cross the line ahead of the athlete. So now this is another visual impairment category. It's the medium visual impairment, and it is F12, F for field, and it's the men's shot put, and there are 10 going in this. Well, one of the greats in this is David Casino Sierra. It's a mixed category as well, by the way. They've invited some F11s into this. Kim Lopez Gonzalez, a regular major champion, is one to watch. Mienko Vucic also. Onai Tapia of Italy fared very well in the European Championships on whole soil in Grosseto in June. And 2 for Brazil will be very well supported. Chao Vinicius da Silva and Alessandro Silva.
note on our screens to say the second heat of the women's 100 T11 is slightly delayed.
There has to be a bit of silence in the stadium for mainly for the T11s to get underway. So obviously because they're making the announcements for this event, they've just had to push back the T11 sprints by a few moments. Miljenko Vucic, he's 34 now, but he definitely will be a prime candidate in this. And Ukraine have got a brilliant para-athletics talent program. They skipped the European Championships, Ingrid, to make sure they'd be finely tuned for this. Open the door for the likes of Kim Lopez-Gonzalez, who's a regular major championship medalist. Daniel Jörg likewise.
Russell Short, a multi-Paralympian for Australia. Strong contingent. You know, 9 out of the 15 times that the host city for the Paralympics, 9 out of 15 of those host cities have finished top spot as their best ever finish on the medal table, is what I'm trying to say. The benefit of competing at home is absolutely significant. So 9 out of 15 times the host nation has had their best finish on the medal table. I knew I'd get it out eventually, Will. But Brazil, we've already seen in the first couple of events here, well, making promising starts to the competition.
Take the example of China, how wonderfully they did in Beijing, and it certainly has put a very positive focus on parasport for them. Here are the two Brazilian competitors in this men's shot put, and what a reception coming for them. Chao de Silva Pereira and Alessandro Rodrigo Silva. And the crowd's coming in all the time here, by the way, and they can enjoy the next heat of the women's 100 meters T11. Again, 4 in this, and some big names too. Libby Clegg, the former European and world champion, the reigning Commonwealth Games champion for Great Britain. And the Oya siblings, Ronja is guided by her brother, Jesper. It's a major championship debut and one for Fatimata Diasso of Côte d'Ivoire, former able-bodied triple jump champion. So a major championship debut in terms of the IPC athletics circuit. Parisian by birth, she's 26. Zhao Guizhou, the reigning Asian and Paralympic Games champion from London 2012. She beat down into silver on home soil, Libby Clegg of Great Britain. Silver in the 1 there, silver and the 1 and 2 in Lyon in the World Championships the following year. A new guide for her in Chris Clark, by the way. Mikael Huggins had guided her previously. And here are the Oyas. Ronja, the athlete, Jesper, the guide. Did brilliantly. Ingrid at the Europeans, silver in the long jump, bronze in the 1, having won bronze in the 200 meters in Swansea, the Europeans in 2014. A Helsinki girl, that great port town. Remember, it's only the winner who qualifies and the next 4 fastest losers across all 4 first-round heats. Zhao also won silver in the 200 meters in London. But it's her title that's being defended here. Diasso in 1, Zhao in 3, Clegg in 5, Oya in lane 7. And away first time, brilliant start by Libby Clegg in lane 5. Now Zhao's coming into her own in 3. It's going to be a good battle between these two, and Zhao's winning it at the moment. Clegg fighting back. Zhao will just narrowly take it, 12.17, but it wasn't by much. It was a very, very narrow margin. Zhou just ahead of Clegg. I think both will go through anyway. That's a very fast time. That's only 1500ths off the world record of Teresina Guillermina, and that's the unofficial time of 12.17. I think they're both going through. It was very, very fast indeed. But for me, Zhou just pipped Clegg on the line. Chris Clark just up alongside a very popular athlete in Great Britain, Libby Clegg is. I think they'll both progress, but Zhou will have that confirmed pretty much straight away.
Well, if that 12.17 stands up, then Zhou has won a personal best to win it, as it looks like she has, but so too will have Libby Clegg.
Dead heat. They've given it as a dead heat between Zhou and Clegg. They've both recorded 12.17.
Wow. We knew it was tight. A great thrust at the line it must have been from Libby Clegg, because Zhou looked to have her covered, even if narrowly, but they've been given the same time. Here's the start, and certainly Zhou got away well and looked to have half a metre early on Libby Clegg, but she just kept chipping away, and come the line as the guides just ease back. Clegg, oh, they both dipped at the line. You can't question either effort or the timing. And Clegg just made up another 30, 50 centimetres, and just the left shoulder of Zhou dipping at the line, and Clegg, oh, what a great finish.
Well, it's done on the torso, and they cannot be divided. That's a European record and a new British record for Libby Clegg. Zhou with a lifetime best, 12.17 also. Well, Libby Clegg changing running partners in the last year. And both will go through. It's recorded as a dead heat, so now there's only three fastest losers who'll make it. Clegg and Zhou both qualify 12.17. No, yeah, having had such an excellent European Championships. Bronze in the 100 there. I think we'll probably be a bit disappointed with her final time. But we're seeing some cracking stuff already. And get ready for a very, very big cheer in the next few moments, because one of the great names, not just of world parasport, but Brazilian sport, full stop, we will be seeing very, very shortly.
Teresina Guillermina, so much expected. You know, the burden of expectation, it can be a good thing, it can be a hefty thing to carry around. Performing in front of your home fans is great, but if you're actually expected to win, maybe it flips around the other way. But I think that Guillermina has the class to move through this first stage. She'll be in lane 7 and joined by runners from Italy, Japan and China.
Well, it is fate in this that the woman who took away all her titles in Doha at the World Championships last year has been drawn right alongside her. Here's the field, and it's quality all the way. Deadeye of Italy, major championship medalist right across the board. Takada at Asian level. Liu is the 4-time world champion from Doha last year, and Guillermina has won 6 major Paralympic medals, 3 titles in her time. Ayola Deadeye here, bronze in the 200 and the long jump at the European Championships. In Grosseto on home soil in Italy. Great crowds there at the football stadium, about 150 kilometers due north-west of Rome. Ayola Deadeye with her guide, Elisa Bettini. There's not many female guides, but Ayola has one. Lane 3, Chiaki Takada of Japan. Like Ayola Deadeye, her partner is an international athlete in his own right as well. Shigeki Omori is her guide. But the reigning world champion, 100, 200, 400 meters, and in the 4x1, Liu Kucheng of China. But still the reigning Paralympic Games champion over 100 and 200, 8 times a world champion. Teresina Guillermina, and this is her patch.
And if there's an opportunity to dance, a Brazilian won't miss it. Teresina Guillermina looks to be in good mental state for the start of her program. But she's going to get some fast competition from Liu beside her.
Well, don't be too surprised if the eventual gold and silver medalist in this come out of this heat. Guillemina still at the World Championships last year, won silver in the 200 and the 400. She didn't get out to the semi-finals in the 100. And that, obviously, for many, is the showpiece event. Liu Kuxing suddenly has become the one to beat. Guillemina 2, Deadeye in 1, Takada 3, Liu 5, Guillemina in 7. Brilliant start. Fabulous start by Liu in 5. Guillemina's fighting back in second place. Liu is going to come through and Liu is going to win this, and it is going to be very fast. Liu in lane 5 takes the win for China. It's very close to the world record. Only 300ths away, unofficial. Guillemina in second place. No, she's got a real battle to defend that Paralympic title. Liu, marvelously fast, rounded down to 12:03. And that's 200ths outside of Guillemina's world record from London 2012. The fight is on.
Well, Liu made such a brilliant start. There was no catching her. Kept the acceleration going, and a 12:03. It's a couple of hundredths outside Guillemina's world record set in London. But as we see from out of the blocks, Liu had a couple of metres on everybody straight away. Then Guillemina settled into a stride, and that margin pretty much stayed the same. But too classy at the start was Liu, and won it handsomely in the end, and did threaten the world record. The guy just easing back as he's obliged to do. Guillemina finished well, but she's going to have to come up with a better start if she's going to threaten this athlete.
Liu looking absolutely brilliant. She didn't ease up, but I wonder if it was a 100% performance from Liu or if she's holding something back for the final. But she won that very comfortably, and she was incredibly close to the world record. 12.03 for Liu. 12.01's Guillemina's world record, with the ace Brazilian in second place, Deadeye third, and Takada in fourth. It will be a very, very interesting event, especially if they get drawn together again in the semi-finals.
We've got a decent Brazilian runner in this fourth and final heats of the women's 100 T11 in Odair Santos, with a personal best of 12:12. And athletes also from Angola, Namibia and Nigeria.
Field action is continuing here also, as will be the case right throughout the competition. There are 4 field finals currently in progress. There will be opportunities to catch up in that throughout.
At the start of this opening session, we drifted a little bit behind time, but we've kept the schedule running along quite nicely since.
Alessandro Rodrigo Silva going in the men's shot put, the F12. It's a solid effort. He's a 12.70 thrower in his career. Currently leading is Roman Danieluk of Ukraine, a first round throw of 15.47 to get into the medals. 14.56 needed. It is a Brazilian in third. The other Brazilian in this, João Vinicius de Silva, with 14.56 just a few moments ago. Silva with a decent effort. He's in eighth though, 12 meters 23. He knows he can do better than that. Has done this year.
Danieluk with a 15.47 leading the field, and 15.24 from Gonzalez of Spain. in these opening attempts.
Danilyuk is the reigning world champion from Doha last year. He's pretty new to the scene. This is Haidarov of Uzbekistan. Get the second round underway. Foul in the first round. Well, that was a bit better, wasn't it?
Yes, good drive. Only competitor to foul in the first round. Good quick shift across the circle. Got it out towards 14 metres.
He's the reigning Asian Games champion, Mavlonbek Haidarov. 13.59, currently lying in 7th place. And now here's the fourth and final first round heat to the women's 100 metres T11, featuring the silver medalist from London 2012, silver in Lyon in the World Championships 2013, Lisha Santos. It's Esperanza Chicasso of Angola in lane 1 alongside her guide Aliane Baptista. Bronze in the 200 in Lyon at the World Championships in 2013. Her only major championship medal in her career, but she normally comes very close. 4th in the 100 metres final in Lyon, where Guillermina won. From Namibia, Laya Ishatile. Bronze in the Commonwealth Games 100 metres in Glasgow 2 years ago. That her only major championship medal. Lavinia Onyegbule of Nigeria in lane 5. 4th in the 200 metres in Doha at last year's World Championships, disqualified in the 1. And Lisha Santos of Brazil actually did win a medal ahead of Guillermina in the 100 metres in Doha in the World Championships last year. Normally has finished behind her. Gold in the 4x1 in the World Championships 2011, but a string of silvers in the 1 and 2 in the last 3 World Championships and in the last Paralympic Games in London as well. Bronze in the 1 and the 4 in the Pan Ams in Toronto last year. Lifetime best is 12:12, which is pretty fleet of foot in its own right.
And half a second quicker than the next best in the field, Onyegbule of Nigeria. It's on personal best, but we can forget about those for the moment because it's the race at hand that matters. Santos in lane 7.
So Chicasso in 1, Ishatile 3, Onyegbule 5, and Santos in 7. Only the winner automatically through.
Chicasso just taking a little longer to get set. Guide making sure the hands are behind the line.
It's only the 3 fastest losers who are through now. And away at the first time of asking. Solid start that was by Santos in lane 7. Onyegbule's going well in 5, but it's Santos who's now hitting the front in the final 30, and Santos will win it 12:33. That'll do very nicely. Another Brazilian through to the semi-finals. That'll be the 3rd. Everybody from Brazil through to the semis, because Guillermina will get through as the fastest loser without any doubt at all. Santos makes it as well. 12:34, that's been rounded up to, with Ishatile in 2nd and Chicasso in 3rd.
Well, Chicasso it was who maybe made the best start of the 4 and certainly posed the question early to Santos, but Chicasso faded over the last 20 metres and fell out of the contest somewhat. Santos, a well-paced 100 metres, if there is such a thing. It's a straight-out sprint, of course, but look on the inside in 1. The brilliant start made by Esperanza Chicasso from Angola. Perhaps had half a metre on the field, but a withering finish coming from Lisha Santos on the outside. And Chicasso beaten into 3rd by Ishatile. And looks in very good nick, does Lisha Santos.
Good margin of victory for her as well, ahead of Ishatile. Quarter of a second clear, 12:34. So all of the home athletes in Rio have managed to make it through. Big yell by Guilherme Soares Her guide alongside, presumably just to say that he was easing up and that the line was there.
I think he's telling her when to dip. Here's the line, go now. Yeah. But the relationship between the guide and the runner is so crucial, not just the teamwork, but the amount of training that they have to do together.
Santos wins 12:34. Ishatile, we know, is through as the fastest loser, 12:59. Chicasso misses out by 0.02 of a second. There have been very rare instances of athletes falling out with guides and then obviously having to find a new one to try and improve their situation. So these are the athletes who are through. What a fast time by Liu Kuiting, 12.03. Very close to that world record. Libby Clegg, Zhou, Guillermina, Santos, and Salvatini, the three Brazilians all making it. Saban Pakpaz currently lies fifth in the men's shot put, the F12. Something around 14 meters needed it, and you know what? He's gone well beyond that.
Pakpaz, yes, 16.44 from Gonzalez leads the field.
I think that's gone down as a foul, actually.
Yep.
Which is a shame. He needed another 70 centimeters or so to break into the medals. Chao Vinicius da Silva's dropped down into fourth place, and Brazil currently out of the medals in that.
Onto the T12 category now in the women's 100 meters, and another 4 heats.
One of the great champions goes in this. The lady in the middle, who's the only one with the guide. Amara Durand in lane 5, the triple champion from the World Championships in Doha last year. Linda Hammery in lane 3 for Algeria. Had originally nominated a guide in Morsley Budabala, but he's watching from elsewhere. She's on her own here. It's T12, so a guide is optional. Her best results have generally come in the long jump. Silver in the last 3 major championships, 2 worlds, and in London 2012. From Algiers. Family of 7. All sisters. But this is the one they all have to beat. And Amara Durand is going for the big hat trick again. 100, 200 and 400 that she won at the World Championships in Doha in October. The defending Paralympic Games champion in the 1 and the 4. Her guide is Yoniel Kindelan. And for Sara Fernandez Roldan of Spain, bronze in the 100 meters of the European Championships in Grosseto in June. Bronze in the long jump in Swansea 2 years earlier. From Seville.
Well, Durand with an intimidating time sat next to the 13 plus of Amri and Fernandez. So should be able to do the business in lane 5 and move without question through to the next stage.
Six gold medals for Durand last year, 3 in the Pan Ams and 3 in the Worlds. Everybody knows who they have to beat. Hamri 3, Durand 5, Fernandez 7. Away first time, and Durand flying away in the middle lanes, well ahead of the rest. She's going to win this with ease. It's going to be very, very fast indeed. She doesn't have the fastest time in the world this year. She does now, 11:59. She's broken her season's best by 1/4 of a second. Her world record's 11:48, and it's not very far away. It's been rounded down to 11:58 for Amara Durand, and that sets the standard for the rest to follow. And on the biggest stage, she's produced the best time.
Catch me if you can. I'm Amara Durand, and 11:58. Well, just a 10th outside her own world record. You know, the margin may look intimidating, Well, we're not surprised, though, and it's a Paralympic record for Amara Durand. And she just blew Humry and Fernandez off the track, really. But not surprisingly. And a promise of things to come. The runners in the other heats do them well not to look at what just happened.
That is ominous, isn't it? And it's medium visual impairment, so she can see a good bit, perhaps around 20 meters ahead. She had a little glance across. She wanted a fast time because it was Chibanu of Azerbaijan, who we'll see later, who had the fastest time in the world this year. Not anymore. Paralympic Games record for Amara Durand of Cuba, 11:58. She's a title to defend. She's going about it the right way.
Nice crowd building in the stadium. I'll be looking forward to the run of Alice de Oliveira Correa of Brazil in the next heats of the women's 100 T12. A mild and overcast morning in Rio, the morning after a marvellous opening ceremony. F12 shot put, Janko Vucic. A couple of throws in the 14s.
Shot put is his strongest discipline. He also competes in the discus. A lot of throwers may throw the javelin in there as well, sort of multi-category events, very talented throwers. And obviously, on both the IPC and IAAF circuits, Croatia have a very strong throwing program. Great in the field events. Vlasic and Perkovic, who won on home soil the other night.
Consistent throwing from the Croatian. 1440, 1489, 1469 just now. Can he find something a little extra? Janyuk. Not leading.
Yes, the world champion has fallen behind another of the big favourites here, Kim Lopez Gonzalez. It's about a metre down at the moment. That's a brilliant throw, and you could just see those last markers of the Paralympic and world record marks. Danieluk is the world record holder. 16:64 set at the World Championships in Doha when he took the big gold. He hasn't taken the lead here, but he has improved a bit. He's got the margin with a 15:94.
Still Gonzalez of Spain with 16:44. We'll leave that for the moment and come back to the track. And the second heat, women's 100 T12.
And in this, the former European, World and Paralympic Games champion for Ukraine, Oksana Baturchuk. Lost her European titles this year as Ukraine, along with the Netherlands, didn't compete in Grosseto. Only two major nations who skipped that as they wanted to concentrate on this. It's a big cheer coming here. Alice is a Rio girl. Alice de Oliveira Correa. Silver in the 1 and the 2 in the Pan Ams in Toronto last year. Joylyn Jeffrey. It's her first major global championship since Beijing 2008. She was disqualified in the 100 meters there. Commonwealth Games 8th in the 100 in Glasgow. Here is Oksana Baturchuk. Silver in the 2 and the 4, bronze in the 1 in the last World Championships in Doha. European golds in the 1, the 2 and the 4 in Swansea in 2014. And Greles Villarreal of Venezuela, bronze in the 100 and the 200 in the Pan Ams in Toronto last year. 20 years old from Maracaibo. Anissa Sombrano is her guide.
Two runners from South America, one from Papua New Guinea and one from Ukraine. Breeze making its way across our microphones, a little bit of a swirling breeze through the stadium. Won't worry these runners across the 100 though.
Again, only the winner to automatically qualify, plus the 4 fastest losers. D'Oliveira Carrera in 1, Jeffrey 3, Potoczek 5, Villarreal in 7. Way first time, brilliant start by Villarreal in 7, but now Potoczek is really in his stride. D'Oliveira's going well for Brazil in 1, but it's going to be Oksana Potoczek who'll take the honours here. 11.90. It's a good solid time. It's inside the old Paralympic record of Zhou of China, 11.91 from London 2012, which was broken in the last race. She wasn't really tested that much in the end. Her guide actually was well ahead and had to take a couple of strides back on the line. Potoczek 11.89, that's been rounded down to with D'Oliveira. Second place for Brazil, but Potoczek comfortably through in the end.
Potoczek, the finish, a big smile and a kiss to the crowd. Looked like she wouldn't blow out a candle. There would seem to be no effort at all, running with ease. So Potoczek, an impressive start and just kept it going. D'Oliveira in lane 1. Also made a solid start, but didn't have the straight-out speed of Potoczek. Across the line impressively. Villarreal of Venezuela on the outside in 3rd, and a very easy style from Potoczek carrying her to the line in a good time. 11.89.
It was quite a dramatic pull back of the wrist, you can say. Officials might have a little look at that. The guides aren't allowed to drag the athlete over the line. He should be okay with that, I think. Potoczek wins, 11.89. D'Oliveira Carrera second for Brazil, 12.31. Good candidate to go through as the fastest loser. Villarreal 3rd for Venezuela. Back to the shot put. And this is João da Silva Pereira. Now, he's a big candidate for a medal here. He was in the bronze medal position for a long time. We're into the 3rd round now. He's ended up falling way back, but that might have just put him into a great position again. It was a good long one. I think that might have been beyond 15 meters. It is 15.23, and João Vinicius da Silva is in the bronze medal position again, and he's close there to his lifetime best.
Yes, up into 3rd position. Top spot held by Gonzalez of Spain. And Alessandro Rodriguez Silva. He's only been putting it out 12 meters or so. Needs a big improvement here. Hasn't quite found it. It's a previous throw from da Silva Pereira. They put him up into 3rd position, pushed Russell Short down to 4th. An Australian with a bit to do to figure in the medals, as he's done previously. 12.43 for Silva.
It's only the top 8 who have 3 final throws, so Silva's competition over. And the thing about João Vinicius da Silva is his throw of 14.56 would have put him up into bronze, hadn't improved, and he'd fallen way back to about 7th or 8th. This is how we are at halfway. Kim Lopez Gonzalez, who's better at the discus, is our leader in this. Half a metre clear of Roman Daniluk, the reigning world champion from Doha. And Brazil currently in the bronze medal position with João da Silva. Russell Short in 4th for Australia, but only a few centimetres short. On we go to the 3rd heat to the women's 100 metres T12. Only 3 going in this. But we have the European champion over 100 and 200 metres, Katrin Muller-Rothgart, in the middle lanes. Everybody here going with a guide. Edmilson Governo from Maputo and Mozambique, the bronze medalist in the 400 metres in Doha at the World Championships last year. She's in lane through alongside her guide, Felipe João Chamite. Alongside her in lane 5. Gold in the 1 and the 2. Bronze in the long jump in Grosseto in the European Championships in June. But she's never won a major global medal at a World Championships or a Paralympic Games. Katrin Müller-Rothgart from Wattenscheid. And in lane 7, Shen Yaqin of China, the Asian Games 200 meters champion. Silver in the 100 and finished 4th in the 400 meters at the World Championships in Doha. She's never won a global medal, but Governo has over 400 meters. And Germany retaining the, I have to say, quite unusual white singlets. We're used to seeing them black and red, but they wore white in the Olympic Games, and they've retained it for the Paralympics. So Governo in 3, Müller-Rothgart in 5, and Shen in lane 7. They're away. Excellent start by Shen in 7. She's got away very well, and she's left the rest of the way. But now Müller-Rothgart is straightening up and strengthening up, trying to overtake Shen on her outside. And Müller-Rothgart will take it. Shen in 2nd place. Governo was close to it as well. 12:48. Very, very impressive. Müller-Rothgart gets the win for Germany. She's through to the semi-finals.
Well, Müller-Rothgart looked a little in trouble early. Just not quite hitting her stride quickly enough, and it allowed Shen on the outside to take an early lead. Müller-Rothgart and her guide Sebastian Frick able to settle down and come across in 12:48, about 3/10 outside the Müller-Rothgart's personal best of 12:12. So a brilliant start, really, by Shen. Absolutely flew out of the blocks. The guide Li Wen. And now Müller-Rothgart settling more easily into her work. And it was very tight for 2nd in the end. And Shen's guide, Li Wen, nearly hit the line before her. The guides, of course, have to keep that in mind, and the excitement of the moment. It's possible to forget, but preferable if you don't. And Müller-Rothgart, perhaps by a metre in the end, or 2. And she was probably less worried than we were about what her chances were there, but she was a little tardy away from the line. But got to the line that matters first.
Crossed the line and then straight over to do the interview, so she's obviously not out of breath. And Müller-Rothgart gets the victory then, 12.47 seconds. Shen is a qualifier also. We know that down to the mathematics now. Governo in 3rd will have to wait for now. Still have 1 heat to go. Well, now one of the more interesting field events, I know they're all interesting, but one which really catches the public imagination is the T11 men's long jump. The athletes here are completely blind. They have to rely on the guide. Currently lying in 3rd place after the opening round for Chinese Taipei is Yang Chuanhui. Good takeoff. He managed to get into the chalk. You'll note that it's a much wider takeoff section, and it's not a board, it's chalk, and they measure from where the dust is ruffled to the first indentation in the sand. And there was chalk dust, as a certain American tennis player used to say. Yang's in a good position here.
Ruslan Kachev with a 6:18 leading the field. It's very important for the crowd closest to where this action is taking place that they keep quiet while the athlete is on the runway, listening carefully to the guidance of the clapping.
Yang up into 2nd place now with a 6.10 meters. Women's 100 meters T12, 4th and final first round heat, and Rose Walepa, I note, does not start for France, so there's only 2 in this heat, so it's a straight foot race. Walepa, well, that's a pity. She doesn't start, but the fastest woman in the world this year going into the Paralympic Games does. Elena Chibanu of Azerbaijan, who's seen her world lead beaten earlier this morning. And Sara Martinez of Spain, a brilliant long jumper. The Madrileño, 2 in a row, European champion in the long jump. Potentially recently engaged too, judging from the ring. But Chibanu, 11.79 earlier this year. Silver in the 100 meters behind Amara Durand in the World Championships in Doha last year, and bronze in the 2. Former Ukrainian now for Azerbaijan.
So Martinez opting to run without the guide, as is her choice. Chibanu with Hakim Ibrahimov.
Way first time, and look at Chibanu go. She's away here. It's her against the clock more than anything else. 11.58 from Durand in the opening heat. Easing up a little bit towards the line, 12.24. She ran very much within herself there. She knew exactly what she wanted to do, and in the end, she didn't want a blistering time. So Durand will have the fastest time in the world this year going into the semi-finals, and Martinez in the end found herself quite a bit behind, and she will be eliminated.
Well, Chibanu would have been well aware that Martinez, with a personal best of 13.27, was not a threat to her. All she needed to do was cross the line first, and maybe she did have plenty to draw on if needed. Certainly got away quickly. As much as anything, it's a training run. And practice a quick start. She certainly had that, and was easing up on the line to go across in 12.24, well outside what she can do. Well inside Muller Rotgart's 12.48, but a fair way outside Amara Durand, who's 11.58 in Heat 1. Was mightily impressive and well under the old Paralympic record. We perhaps didn't make enough of that at the time. It beat the old Paralympic record by 0.3. So we know Durand is the one to beat.
Really interested she did that though, Steve. 12.24 the winning time for Chibanu. Martinez eliminated in second place. Interesting tactic, but she's through. Durand with that fabulous Paralympic record of 11.58, and look, Chibanu is the second fastest anyway, 12.24. Alistair Oliveira Correa makes it for Brazil. Chibanu is obviously saving her fast times for later.
Not far away. Will be a couple of 1,500 metre heats, the women's T13, but at the moment we're back to F12 shot put.
Well, Brazil in a strong position in this shot put. First major championship it is as well for Chao Vinicius da Silva Pereira. It's a 15.60 thrower as well.
It's 14.91 that time, so his third throw stands as his best. Gonzalez with a 16.44. And Danyuk, a man who can threaten the Spaniard. Does have a personal best of 16.64. It's in the 15s. He doesn't look too excited about it as he leaves the ring. Carefully spins away from trouble. Make sure it's a fair effort, which it is, but it's not out towards 16, I don't think. 15.87. Just shy of his best so far. Now, man who leads the competition, Kim Lopez Gonzalez. Oh, another strong effort from Gonzalez. Don't think it's going to match his second attempt of 16.44, but doesn't he generate some speed and rotation? And the obligatory scream therapy as he lets the shot go. And a 16.32. So he's putting out the good throws. He's going to take some catching, I think. He looks to be the man in form, the 27-year-old from Spain. And 2 attempts left for the 8 through to the second half.
It's a great joust between these two, and you might suggest the medals might be between these two in the end. Hector Cabrera Lasser has had no throws the last 3 rounds, 13.59. Lifetime best in the opening round. He's lying in 8th place. It would take something really beyond himself in order to get out of 8th position. That's a bit closer to 14 meters. Might have actually extended his lifetime best a little bit there, but he should stay in 8th place.
It's a 13.75. And that is a personal best.
He's done it again.
Miljenko Vucic. His own target to beat, 14.89. He's got it out past 14 metres, but won't be far short of 14.89. And great to see 4 of the athletes setting personal bests in this competition. I always feel it's not only or ever only about winning. If you do what you can do and set a personal best, well, let the cards fall where they will. If someone else is better than you are, then that's the way it is. Here we go with the first of the women's 1500 T13 heats.
Yeah, strong fields in this T13. But with a few T12s running in this, which is why we have guides. There are 6 in this. It's the first 2 in each heat, plus the next 2 that qualify to the final. These are effectively semis. Elena Kongost is used to longer distances than this. She won silver in the World Championship Marathon, the London Marathon last year. Her coach is her guide, Roger Esteve. Tenore Banda, who was the flag bearer in the opening ceremony for Malawi, Naja Chawaya of Tunisia. Her first major championship since the 2006 Worlds in the Netherlands in Assen. Finished 4th in the 400 meters there, a former sprinter. Margarita Fandes of Chile, from Jaguares in Santiago. She's the reigning Pan Am champion. Velasco Maldonado, who won gold in the 800 meters at the Pan Ams, alongside her guide, Gabriel Urbina Leonor. There from Mexico, we saw Maria Paredes Rodriguez of Spain, and her compatriot, Elena Kongost. She's never won a major championship title, but a few silvers in the 1500 meters at London 2012 and the previous World Championships in Christchurch in 2011. So Kongost of Spain, Velasco Maldonado of Mexico, Paredes Rodriguez of Spain, Fandos of Chile, Chawaya of Tunisia, Banda of Malawi, It's the first two automatically through, and just look at that huge gap straight away. Well, I'm not sure she realizes that she has to go on the inside. I think the realization is coming now. Look at that amazing lead straight away. It's a huge gap. It's only the top two who go through, and the two fastest losers over this 1,500 meters, but just look at her go.
I think she surprised herself, and the lead is at least 20 meters, 25 perhaps.
Well, it is Banda's major championship debut. She's way clear of the rest of the moment, with Paredes Rodriguez of Spain back in second place. She's got 3 laps to go, and her lead is around 40 meters. That's very, very impressive running. We don't have a lifetime best for her. 1,500 perhaps being a distance in which she's been tried out at these championships, but she's absolutely ploughed away straight away. Hope she hasn't gone off too early, Steve.
Well, you can only think that she must have. Surely she is not this much quicker than the rest of this field. But Tayaneri Banda is maintaining and stretching and almost doubling what was a 25-metre lead. It's got to be 50 now, but can she maintain it? Well, time will give us that answer. The rest of the field can only run their race, and rightly so, but that's Banda coming back a little to the field now.
Chuaya is leading the pack back in second place, and there are always some interesting resumes, some life stories of various athletes. Chuaya, we haven't seen in a major championship in 10 years. 4th in the 400, 6th in the 200, 8th in the 100 meters in Assen in the Netherlands. And now 10 years off the global championship stage, here she is. Banda was picked originally for London 2012, but Malawi ran out of funds. They didn't send a team in the end. The rest behind with the guides. Maldonado of Mexico is comfortably in 3rd place. Banda looks to be beginning to slow down. She's still got 800 meters to go.
Stumbled just past the line there, and now the lead is back to about 20 meters. And just meandering a little. Of course, she's running without a guide, but we'll be used to that, choosing to do so. And now the field is starting to draw her in quite quickly, and Banda withering on her run now. She did go out too hard, and it won't be long before she's swallowed up down the back straight.
It's going to happen with around 600 meters to go. It's Chuaya of Tunisia who's about to overtake and take the lead at pretty much the right time. She just tucked in behind Banda a little bit. She'll take her pace for a few more meters at the very least. Maldonado of Mexico well positioned in 3rd place as well. Remember, it's 2 and 2, so you don't get anything major for either. And look at Banda go again. This is amazing.
Well, I hope Banda has a full understanding that there's still a lap to go. She'll hear the bell as she approaches the line. What a surprising and interesting runner is Tayaneri Banda of Malawi. Well, she's just holding Chuaya at bay at the moment. Maybe not a second time.
And Banda, oh, she's heard the bell and she's sped up again. And Banda is going out to hit the front once more. I just wonder how she's been briefed ahead of this race. Well, she wants to win it. I just hope she realizes it's a semi-final. She's in the top 2, so she's fine. It's Chuaya who leads. It's Banda in 2nd place. It's Velasco Maldonado in 3rd. But it is a very, very remarkable race with 300 to go.
Well, it's Chuaya who running a more conventional race down the back straight and striding out very nicely indeed, and has 10 meters now, perhaps on Velasco. And Banda, see if she's got enough to produce a finish and draw some more interest from the crowd. She certainly had us wondering about her race tactics. It doesn't matter too much to Naja Chuaya, who's going to come down and win this one comfortably.
Chuaya has got 30 meters on Velasco Maldonado, and she's going to win this very comfortably indeed. It's going to be very, very fast. It'll be 4:52 in the end, so Chuaya gets the victory. Velasco Maldonado is in 2nd place, and coming through, rocketing through in 3rd, looked to be, I think it was Founders of Chile, and Banda, I'm afraid, has gone down to a walk, and it's a pity. And she's just walked over the line, and I think she's been completely misadvised ahead of this race about how she should run it. Anyway, victory for Tunisia and Chihuahua, with Velasco Maldonado in second place. They will make it, and fifth and sixth will be eliminated. It's only the next two who'll certainly go through as fast as losers. And I fear in the end, Banda Malawi had literally nothing left in the tank. Chihuahua wins it, ran the right race, 4:52.32 in the end. She takes the win, and Velasco Maldonado also comfortably through.
So Maldonado in 4:56.74, some 4 seconds behind the winner, Chihuahua. But watch the start from Banda of Malawi on the outside.
And she stayed in the lane as well for a lot of that. I honestly, I can only assume she hasn't been given the correct instructions on how to run this, and perhaps in the 800 and the shorter distances, I trust she will be correctly briefed. Chihuahua, no problem in the end. This is where she took over in the end. On the bell.
Nearly a stumble there from Banda, but yes, perhaps Banda's not had a significant coaching in race tactics. I can't say, but
I've got some worse news for you, I'm afraid, and for her. She's been disqualified.
There was some interference on this first bend on about lap 3 as she was being caught, and perhaps that's what it was about. She did seem, as Chihuahua moved past her the first time, there may have been some contact that officials have taken exception to. That's a great shame for Tayaniri Banda.
So victory for Tunisia, for Najai Chihuahua, 4:52.32, with Velasco Maldonado of Mexico also through, 4:56.74. Margarita Faunes of Chile in third, Congost in fourth. Paredes Rodriguez eliminated, and Banda unfortunately disqualified.
Saman Pakbaz. .15.28, his best so far. F12 shot put. Oh, that's a good effort. Oh. That's a mighty effort. He comes off to salute his supporters in the crowd. Great reaction.
It's the last round as well. He looks to have put himself right up in medal contention. Better than that, I think. That's heading towards 16 meters.
And a 15.98 for Saman Pakbaz of Iran into second position. That's about timing.
Isn't it just?
Well, Russell Short back in seventh position. 15.01 is best today. Needs to get well up over 15 meters to threaten for a medal. Final attempt. And no. That'll be 14 something, and only just fair as well. He flirted with the line in the sector. Not today for Russell Short.
He is a double Paralympic Games champion in this. Barcelona in 92. Sydney 2000. If there was one to win, that was the one. But also a double champion from Seoul in 88, the discus and the javelin, when the categories were different. So now on to the second heat, semi-final effectively, the women's 1500 meters. 6 going in this, including a couple of medalists from the 1500 meters and the Europeans in Grosseto, Iraskun Oses Oyakar of Spain, and Ireland's Greta Stremakaiti. Again, it's 2 and 2 to progress in this. Sumaya Busad, the former Paralympic champion and the reigning world champion, she's in 6. There's Chemakaiti, lives in Swords of Clonliffe Harriers. Her father moved to Ireland to work in 2006, and the rest of the family followed 4 years later. She declared for Ireland late last year because she became international class. Bronze in the 15 in Grosseto. Silver in the 15 for Iris Canosa Zayuka from Pamplona in Spain, the former national able-bodied Taekwondo champion. Marcela Gonzalez, silver in the 15 in the Pan Ams last year. Nelly Munyalo of Kenya with a guide, Richard Kukuri. Bronze in the 1500 in 2006 in the World Championships. And Ana Isabel Tavera of Mexico, disqualified in the 1500 in London 2012. Fourth in the 15 in Doha. So we're away. Tavera Gonzalez of Mexico, Munyalo of Kenya, Gonzalez Colombia, Osa Zayuka Spain, Chemakaiti of Ireland, Busad of Tunisia. It's the top 2 to go through, some with guides, 3 of them, and some not.
So a tight field down back straight for the first time. And Busad with a quickest time, 24 seconds better than the next fastest in Chemakaiti and Oses. So it should be Busad who dictates this race if she chooses. But Chemakaiti settling nicely into a work around the first turn and into the home straight for the first time.
She's a very good club runner in Ireland, is Greta Chemakaiti with Clonliffe Harriers, and she's taking up the pace at the moment alongside Boussaïd. They both have very, very good times going into this. Boussaïd, a 4:24 runner. It's Chemakaiti who leads for Ireland with 3 laps to go. Boussaïd just behind them. Osa Zayuka was in 3rd. Now a little bit of movement coming from the Kenyans on the outside. Nelly Muliano alongside her guide, Richa Kukuri. It's her first full global championship since 2006. She went out in the heats of the 100 meters in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow 2 years ago. But it's good pace there by Chemakaiti. She runs in the club scene in Ireland. She's competed in the national championships on the IAAF, the Athletics Ireland circuit. A good bit of movement up by Osa Zayuka, also from Spain, who's moved up into the top 2. But Chemakaiti in very good control at the moment. She's leading from the front. That very encouraging, very good bronze medal in Grosseto for Ireland in the 1500 metres when Smith and McKillop weren't in the team, but Ireland still won quite a lot of medals without them. Boussaïd on the outside.
Yeah, starting to make a move. Boussaïd looked to be running a very smart race, just sitting back to see what Chemakaiti had. And now Boussaïd decides this pace is not quick enough and chooses one that suits her a little better as they come through. 2:16, 2:17. A couple of laps to go, and she's immediately put 5 metres on the field. Chemakaiti is still sitting in 2nd place, but under threat herself now.
Yes, Chemakaiti's at the front of the chasing pack. Boussaïd, real class runner, not only the reigning world champion from Doha, world championship title for her in Christchurch in 2011. Did the double in Beijing over 800 and 1500. Based in Tunis, she is. Silver in the 400 as she tried to be a sprinter in London 2012. A little bit of a move up from the Spaniard, Isas Konoso Zayuka into 2nd place. Chemakaiti knocked down to 3rd at the moment, but still not very much between the top 3. Munyalo has kept a strong position in 4th place. Chemakaiti trying to make a move on the outside, but Osa Zayuka holding up as they come into the closing straight for the 2nd last time, and it's Boussaïd taking it up for the moment.
Boussaïd just doing what she needs to do. Chemakaiti making sure that Spain's Oses Ayuka doesn't get too far away. And the front 3 might have it between them, although Munyalo is not far adrift. But a nice cadence about the running of Sumaya Boussaïd in front. And it's a tight front 3 though. Chemakaiti doing her best to hold on to Oses in 2nd. And Boussaïd, what she got left with about 300 to go.
Yeah, the 3 showing a very good pace, and that gap is increasing all the time between them and Nelly Muliano in 4th place. All they need to do is record a fast time, and the top three will certainly go through. Boussaïd leading for Tunisia. 6 major global titles to her name. That Paralympic Games double going back to Beijing 8 years ago. Now Osasayuka pounces. The silver in the 400 and the 1500 for a really talented athlete. Former nurse she was as well, the girl from Pamplona. But Osasayuka is in front. Boussaïd in second place. Stremakaiti still not out of it in third. She'll certainly know she's not far off an automatic qualifying pace, but she should also have been well briefed about what time she needs to get into the final. I think these three will make it. Osasayuka is going to win, and quite comfortably so. It'll be around 450. Osasayuka, 450 dead, takes it, with Boussaïd in second place, Stremakaiti in third for Ireland, and the rest will have to wait. Gonzalez coming in fourth place for Colombia, but that was very well paced from the top three indeed.
Well, 450 is a good clip for Osasayuka and for Stremakaiti, but Boussaïd with a personal best of 424. I wonder how much she was holding back there, because she can certainly run a bit quicker than the 449.99 now being offered for Osasayuka. All three of our leaders ran quite a canny race, I think. Stremakaiti of Ireland it was, in the green strip, that took to the lead fairly early after avoiding that early traffic. Boussaïd in the middle stages of the race looked to have it comfortably, but did allow Osasayuka to come around the outside. Stremakaiti couldn't quite go with her. So an impressive run from Izaskun Osasayuka, but I don't think we yet know what Somaya Boussaïd can and will do come the final. She's run 20 seconds quicker than this. Can she find those seconds? Who was foxing?
So Osasayuka wins 449.99 with Boussaïd in second place, 450.87. Stremakaiti and Gonzalez both go through. Stremakaiti's has come up on the scoreboard as being a European record for T13. We'll look into that for you, but the top four in that are all through. The crowd having to stay very quiet over on the far side as the men's long jump T11 complete visual impairment continues. They've got a home favourite here.
Oh, that's a great jump from Ricardo Costa de Oliveira.
I love that.
6:41 has been leading it. Oh, but it's a foul, unfortunately.
He just has to, yeah, you see, he went beyond that chalk mark, the long elongated chalk mark, so that's a red flag. But he's in the lead, and he's got the crowd enthused. He finished fourth in the World Championships in Doha. It was his major championship debut. He wasn't in the Pan Ams in Toronto. Could he be a Paralympic Games champion here?
He's only got one fair jump, and it's the best so far, leading from Ruslan Kachiov of Ukraine, who's had a 6:20. So that's a significant difference. Elchin Muradov, Azerbaijan, 5:70 and 5:88, his third attempt.
Silver medal in the World Championships in Doha, and also silver in the 100 metres in Christchurch at the 2011 World Championships. Complete faith in the guide. Remember, it's complete visual impairment. But Muradov has got the technique right. Currently lying in 5th place, needs to gain about half a meter to get into a serious position here.
Guide steps out of the way, he raises some chalk, so it's a fair jump for Elchin Muradov. I think faith is a good word, Will. Absolute commitment to the run and the jump, and that you and your guide have things worked out. That's what the training is for. Deliver the training to competition. And 5:89, he's just beaten his 2nd attempt. It leaves him at the moment in 5th place.
Well, you're talking about faith and not pulling out. Lex Gillette, who's the world record holder in Doha in the World Championships, he went off the track, but he was still running in pretty much a straight line. But he landed just to the left of the sand. One foot was in the sand and the other was in the shale track. Thankfully, he wasn't injured to any degree. He was able to continue, but it does show if there's any slight margin of error in this, you will have problems. Lex Gillette at the moment, by the way, is just out of the medals by 15 centimeters. Yang is in 3rd for Chinese Taipei, and Muradov, as you can see, is 6 centimeters off. Brazil in pole position in this with Ricardo Costa da Silva.
So as they prepare the pit, lots to enjoy for the good crowd that's come in to the stadium on this first day of track and field competition. A lot of Brazilian shirts and flags and support for the Paralympics. So confirming who's through to the final of the women's 1500 T13. With a good field, and that's going to be a very interesting final, because I think there were some runners there with a little bit left and saving it for a race that matters. We're going to have some heats now. The men's 400 T12, 4 of the 4 heats in fact.
T12, so a guide is optional, and actually is the case right across the 4 heats. Hardly anybody is going for a guide here. Certainly not the case in this first heat. Thomas Ulbricht, the former European champion for Kaileretse Mabote of Botswana. It's his first major championship. It's also the case for the Ethiopian athlete we can see here in lane 1, Magersa Bati.
So runners in this first heat from Ethiopia, Botswana, Germany and South Africa. Hilton Langenhoven on the outside. Ulbricht quite well drawn in 5. On his inside, Mabote of Botswana. Bati of Ethiopia in lane 1.
Hilton van Langenhoven. Gold in so many different events down through the years. Long jump, a world champion from Lyon in 2013. And in the old pentathlon, he won that in Christchurch at the previous World Championships 2011. From Cape Town, he and Ulbricht are the 2 with most experience in this field of 4. And again, it's only the winner who goes through this in this opening round of the men's 400 meters T12. Victory with a world record, Paralympic Games record for Ahmed Kali of Tunisia 4 years ago, who is not in this to defend his title. Bati and Mabote, major championship debuts for them. Ulbricht and Langenhoven are much medalled. Ulbricht, the European champion from a few years ago. Langenhoven, silver in the 400 meters at London 2012, bronze in Doha at the World Championships. But he won the 200, the long jump and the pentathlon at Beijing 2008. Thomas Ulbricht the 2014 European champion from Swansea, silver in the 4 in Lyon in 2013 at the World Championships, and the former pentathlon world champion. He's from Berlin. This is Kiet Loretsi Mabote of Botswana, making his major championship debut. And Bati should tell you won bronze in the 1500 metres of the All-African Games last year, but on a global scale, it's his major international bout. The winner to go through, along with the next 4 fastest into the semi-finals. So Bati, Mabote, Ulbricht, Langenhoven are the 4 in this. So away we go. Langenhoven with a fantastic start. Ulbricht as well. Bati obviously has form from the All-African Games last year, but Langenhoven, really strong quality start. He's got a good bit of a margin up on Ulbricht. You'd expect them to be the 2 well to the 4 when they straighten up. Langenhoven off to a really, really good start. 49.04 is his lifetime best. Hasn't broken 50 seconds this year, but this is the main event. This is the place to do it. Langenhoven looks to be well clear. Ulbricht, when they straighten up, in second place, and the rest a little bit further back. But Langenhoven, he's kept a very, very good pace up. It's going to be a fast time. He might just break the 50 seconds, but even if he doesn't, well, he's easing up here, so it's not important to him. 50.27, the winning time for Langenhoven. Ulbricht in second place, Langenhoven through, and Ulbricht really should join him. But he kept solid cadence up throughout, and Hilton Langenhoven wins that opening heat of the men's 400 metres for South Africa very capably indeed.
Well, he's not the first South African to show that you can be in an outside lane and win a 400 metres.
Oh, yes.
Hilton Langenhoven does it comfortably from out in lane 7. He had Ulbricht covered the whole way around. They kept the stagger. So an impressive start offered by Hilton Langenhoven on the outside. Germany's Thomas Ulbricht in lane 5 just could not make an impression. Back in 1 and 3, Bati and Mabote settled into their own race, but it became a question of whether Ulbricht could take anything out of Langenhoven's lead, and in the end the answer was not really, except when Langenhoven switched off with 7 or 8 metres to go. So that is impressive form that he will take through to the next round. Just a casual look over the shoulder to say, how far back are you? And Langenhoven does it in 50.26, and he has qualified ahead of Ulbricht, Mabote of Botswana, and Ethiopia's Bati in 51.39, so very close, 3rd and 4th.
To the long jump, Chen for China, finished 5th in the World Championships in Doha. You'll see a foul in round 3. 5.74 is best so far, but he is a 6.20 man. .620. Would be good enough for a medal at the moment. That's what Katishev has in the silver medal position for now. It's always difficult to judge the distances because obviously they're measuring from the takeoff point as opposed to from the end of the board as you have in more established IAAF competition. T11 and T12 is where you have the chalk. T13 you have the regular board.
It's really only just got his foot into the chalk there, so I hope that's a fair jump for Chang.
And if he's short, then they measure from the start of the chalk, so he'll be giving some distance away if he had missed the chalk.
And a 5.58 for his 4th attempt.
It really is a remarkable event, and you have to put so much trust in your guide. And trust in the crowd as well. And they have been exemplary on the far side. The entire bottom tier on the far straight is full. But it's the best of order. Here's Porras. I think he just got that right. And if he has, that's 6 meters. I think he went as far in the chalk, Steve, as he could have done.
That's absolutely. Not that where in the chalk matters, as long as you're in the chalk and not in advance of it. And they're having a close look. Oh, he is right on the perimeter. I don't know. We'll leave that to the officials.
Well, they're having a good look at this, and the guides as well. So my suspicion is might just have strayed into the plasticine. His guide obviously will be having a very strong look. Porras is explaining himself. No mark is registered yet. It hasn't gone down as a no jump. I think they are measuring it just in case.
So Javier Porras now.
He is the European champion. He's lying in 6th here.
So they are examining the front of his shoe. A red flag is at hand. And
see, I didn't see a red flag go up, but I didn't see a white flag go up either.
So it remains in discussion.
The fact the guide is in heated conversation there suggests to me that the officials are looking to call a foul.
So perhaps it's come down to this, Will, that it looked as though the front of the shoe was over the line, but it hasn't made a mark in the plasticine.
Well, look at that. I think maybe he has gone literally as far as he could do without it being a foul. It's in the corridor of uncertainty.
We can speculate all we like, but it's not in our hands. We'll wait for a decision that actually means something. It's a little unsettling, though, certainly for the athlete and guide. Javier Porras waiting for a decision. Athlete from Spain. .35 years of age. We've had things running pretty much on time. I think they're now being asked to go back to the top of the runway, and we'll sort it out.
Oh, it's been marked, though. It has been marked. I don't think Porras knows that, but it's 6:05. He's up into 4th place. He's 5 centimeters outside the medals.
So at least it's been settled in his favour in a 6:05, and he's not far away from a podium position with still some competition to go in that long jump. We'll go back to the 400s.
It's heat 2 of the men's 400 meters T12, and it features the reigning world champion Martin Aloysius of Namibia here. 6th in the 200 and the 400 in Christchurch in 2011. 7th in the long jump in 2013. So he may be a candidate in that as well. First major championship for Madi Afri of Morocco. He's 20 years old. What a stage in which to have that. Selo Matibi, his first major championship since the 2006 Commonwealth Games. Went out in the heats of that and in the heats of the 2004 Paralympics in Athens. And here is the reigning world champion, Luis Goncalves of Portugal. Gold in the 400 meters in Doha. Silver in the 4x1 in the Europeans in Grosseto in June. Didn't compete in the 2012 Paralympics, Goncalves, an enforced 2-year absence. Silver medalist in the 400 in the Europeans in 2014, and he was the world champion also in 2011. Goncalves will be the one to watch absolutely in lane 1. So Goncalves in 1 off very strongly. Matibi in 3, Afri in 5, Aloysius in 7, and already Goncalves is almost up, and he's taken up the stagger on Matibi. Looks well clear in the outside lanes. Aloysius looks to be going very well for Namibia. Now he normally makes the finals, or at least the semi-finals, Aloysius. 6 in the 2 and the 4 in Christchurch. But Goncalves has already well overtaken Matibi. He's looking to do the same with Afri, who's come up very well in the last 100 meters. Aloysius has begun to tie up on the outside lane in lane 7. But Goncalves, well clear, and Afri has moved up. Look at how well Afri's done all of a sudden. He's done brilliantly in the 3rd quarter of that race, and Afri might just take this. I think he will. Afri to win it. Goncalves in 2nd, 49.33. Well, that's a lifetime best for Morocco, definitely, and it might just be a national record as well. And Goncalves in 2nd place, I'm pretty sure, wasn't expecting that. 49.32 against 49.60, and that's a lifetime best by well over a second.
Well, what a surprising race in the end, with Afri finishing so strongly, but Goncalves took off at a frenetic pace from the inside lane and quickly had Matibi in his sights. So in lane 1, Goncalves made a blistering start. Had Matibi covered inside 100 meters, but it was Afri who finished the stronger. A great result for Morocco, and Goncalves just fading slightly. Maybe went out a little too hard, tried to gather them all in too quickly, and Afri measured his race a little bit better, and a 49.32. That is significantly under his personal best of a reported 50.26, 0.9 almost. So through goes Mahdi Afri, ahead of Luis Goncalves. Namibia's Aloysius was 3rd and Matibi 4th in 54.65, the 2nd of 4 heats in the men's 400 T12.
Have to say, what an impressive win in the end for him. As we head in towards the 2nd half of the men's long jump T11, and Yang in the bronze medal position for Chinese Taipei. He is the reigning Asian Games champion. Silver in the long jump in Lyon in the World Championships, and he's measured that very well. Now you see the 6 meter mark there, but remember the measurement starts from the takeoff point. That might be another 6 meter go, and the crowd are really enthused about how well he's doing. They're enthused overall with how well Brazil are doing, with Ricardo Costa de Oliveira leading full stop. He's 5 centimeters inside the medals, ahead of Xavier Porras in 4th. And it took a long time for Porras' measurement to come through, but they weren't red flagged in the end.
And 5.99 attributed to Young, so hasn't been able to beat his 2nd attempt of 6.10, nor Costa de Oliveira's 6.41. And that 6.41 is Oliveira's only fair jump. Just throwing a liberal amount of chalk around for Ruslan Kachev, sitting in silver medal position with a 6.20.
He didn't shave while competing in London. He won the gold there. He's following the same form here, but can he win gold in Rio?
Oh no, he's run
like
through and landed rather awkwardly.
That could be a problem.
He's all right. He's just disappointed. I hope he's all right. I didn't like the look of how he landed, but he knew he'd overstepped the chalk and waves to the crowd as being okay. Well, that's encouraging. Well, he knew he missed the chalk, and then as he went to pull out, let his legs sort of fold underneath him, and no measurement there for Ruslan Kochiev. The sweepers and smoothers go to work. As Ricardo Costa de Oliveira is next to go. May clash with the next 400, or we'll see how this is organised. I hope to see a jump from the man who's leading the competition. That leap of 6:41.
He gave a clarion call, if you like, what he's capable of, finishing fourth in the World Championships in Doha in his major championship debut. So the rest would have known, coming onto home soil. The crowd behind him, and a full crowd over on that bottom tier in the far flank, as is the case behind the line. Oh, that's good. And don't the crowd love that?
That foot just made it into the chalked area, so it's going to be a fair jump for de Oliveira. Can he beat 6:41? He's already in the lead. And of course the crowd loves him. Generates tremendous pace on the runway. Finds the chalk, finds the pit, and what distance has he found? Ricardo Costa de Oliveira. Well, it's not quite as good as his 6:41 second attempt, but 6:32, and he's still the man to beat.
Mehmet Tunç of Turkey, who won silver in the European Championships in Grosseto in June. We'll tell you how he does. Heat 3 of the men's 400 metres T12. This features the reigning Pan American Games champion, Jesus Martinez of Mexico, the reigning European champion, Juan Muna Martinez of Spain. And here he is with his guide, Juan Enrique Valles. Been knocking on the door for a few years, silver in the 200 metres in Swansea in the Europeans in 2014, then came of age in Grosseto. He's still only 20, by the way. This is Sun Qishao of China, silver in the 400 metres in the World Championships in Doha last year, and the reigning 200 and 400 Asian Games champion from 2 years ago in Xi'an. Elmir Jabrailov of Azerbaijan, his guide Hakem Ibrahimov, fourth in the 400 metres in the Worlds in Doha last October. And Jesus Manuel Martinez, who won gold in the 400 in Toronto at the Pan Ams last year, last July, bronze in the 100 and the 200 as well. So it's a very strong field here, but only the winner will automatically qualify, along with the next four fastest across the four heats. So three, actually, continental champions in this. Martinez Valles in 1, Jabrailov 3, Sun 5, Muna Martinez in 7. So away they go, and expect this to be very, very competitive indeed. We've got the America's champion in 1, the Asian champion in 5, the European champion in 7. Muna Martinez is off very well indeed. Jabrailov is also going at very good pace, even if he doesn't have a continental title to his name. And Martinez Valles for Mexico looks to be going very well in 1 also. when they straighten up, I think this could be very close indeed. Sun is doing a good bit of catch-up in lane 5 with Muna Martinez on his outside. Now they straighten up and they come for home. There's certainly not a lot between them at all. Sun is going very well for China in lane 5. Muna Martinez of Spain in 7. Bit of movement coming from Jabrailov now in 3. But Sun has had a look around, and Sun will take it ahead of Muna Martinez in 2nd. Jabrailov in 3rd. Martinez Velez in 4th place. 49.56, and it was very competitive in the end. And Sun and Muna Martinez, well, they stamped their claim very well, but it was the Chinese athlete who in the final 100 meters, as soon as he was aware of Muna Martinez alongside, put the foot down, got home, did very well.
I'm wondering if they haven't given it to Muna Martinez. Sun just switched off.
Oh, he has,
Sun
yes.
switched off too early, and Muna Martinez has been given the victory in 49.56, and Sun has been attributed 49.58, so a mistake there from Sun at the line as Muna Martinez on the outside just kept pressing and pressing, and Sun has just switched off too early. Joan Muna Martinez of Spain, well guided and well finished.
I can't believe he did that, Steve. I honestly cannot believe he did that. Just 1 or 2 strides ahead of the line. If he just followed through, he'd have won it, and he'd be automatically through.
I'm not forgetting that these are athletes with visual impairment, and Sun runs without a guide. So it's Muna Martinez who's qualified. Well, so too has Sun with his 49.58, but that's not something he'd want to do in the next phase.
I think his coach will be reminding him for the next round. They are both through, so it didn't cost him in the end, but had that heat been a bit slower, then Sun might have been sweating. Knocking on the door of a medal in the men's long jump T11 final, the European champion Javier Porras from Barcelona for Spain, who's been winning major championships since the 2006 Worlds in the Netherlands in Assen. They and nearby Stadskanaal get a lot of major parasport championships. They've got the right facilities. Didn't medal at London 2012.
Of course, it was Porras with his 3rd attempt who had us all wondering whether it was going to be measured or not. There was some discussion and debate about whether it was a fair jump. In the end, it was measured, and it was his best at 6.05. He's sitting in 4th position at the moment. Porras is ready. Never give up. A message delivered during the opening ceremony as well. Well, there won't be any doubt about that one, but I don't know that it's his best jump so far. Found the front area of the chalk, and of course it's where the foot makes impact in that chalked area that the measurement is taken from in this long jump competition. Needs to find something better than 6.10 to displace Young, who's sitting in bronze medal position at the moment, and 5.97, so not quite there, but maybe he's got it in him. So the 4th and final heat in the
First round of the men's 400 metres T12, medium visual impairment, and the Asian Games champion is in this for Uzbekistan, Fakhruddin Khamrayev. And just to the east of Kazakhstan, who compete in European football, but Asian athletics and the Asian Games. And then just west of them, Azerbaijan, who are a European sporting nation. But Khamrayev, gold in the 2, the 4, the 8, and the 4x1 in the Asian Games. Jorge Benjamin Gonzalez Saceda, bronze in the 400 at London 2012. He's from Sinaloa, 4th in the 100 in the Pan Ams last year. And for Kenya, Henry Mwendo. He was in 4 events in the World Championships in Christchurch and was disqualified in all of them.
It's not something you'd put on your CV, perhaps.
I'm afraid it's on his. I wasn't at that World Championships, but you were. Can you remember?
Oh, the years slipped by. Well, that wouldn't embarrass him by elaborating.
Well, he's got a good chance here. It's 3 in this heat. The winner goes through, plus the next 4. Well, he has a chance. He's got a good lifetime best, 49.82. He's in 3. Henry Zungi Mwendo. Gonzalez Salcedo's in 5 for Mexico. And Khamrayev in 7 for Uzbekistan. So away first time. Mwendo indeed have a really good start. Khamrayev as well in 7. Has got away out of the blocks very well. Quite even for the opening 100 metres of this last 400 T12 heat. Gonzalez has made a bit of ground and Khamrayev on his outside. Mwendo has picked up. Really even between these two, and in this second quarter of the race you can see Mwendo is accelerating brilliantly here. I think he's in the lead at the moment. That'll certainly become clear when they straighten up. Khamrayev has had to accelerate a little bit. He'd have had a glance alongside, but Mwendo is well clear as they hit the closing straight. Khamrayev will have to accelerate now in the final 50 minutes just to go through. It's only the winner who qualifies, and that is going to be Henry Mwendo. He's won this very well. 49.86. Khamrayev in 2nd. Gonzalez in 3rd. 49.86 is by a 2nd and a quarter, a season's best. It's just shy of his lifetime best. 49.85 it's been rounded down to, and that was very good indeed from the Kenyan.
Yeah, he timed his race nicely. Of course, he worked it well from the inside. And you look at the personal bests of these 3 runners, and they're all just under 50 seconds, but the season time's a little slower. But Mwendo just took a little time to wind in. Gonzalez and Khamrayev outside him did some of his best work in that 3rd 100 and saw off Khamrayev through the closing 50 metres. It was just a question of whether he'd get under 50 seconds, and he did. And a very even-paced run from Mwendo. A smart race from Henry Mwendo of Kenya. 49.85 ahead of Fakhruddin Khamrayev of Uzbekistan and Jorge Gonzalez of Mexico. So through goes Mwendo.
Yeah, he did very well indeed. 49.85. Henry Mwendo qualifies for the semi-finals, and Khamrayev also as the fastest loser, 50.52. So these are the 8 into the semi-finals, with Mahdi Afri of Morocco the fastest, 49.32. Muna Martinez and Son next quickest. Again, Calvez, 49.60 will be a candidate also. It is full IAAF rules, by the way. If you stroll out of your lane, even if it is a visual impairment category, you will be disqualified. Just thinking back to what happened to Henry in Christchurch.
Don't. Yang, Chinese Taipei, across at the long jump. T11 men's long jump. Oh, I'm not sure why he didn't deliver on that jump because he was in the fair area. But Yang sitting in fourth position, so he's hit the chalk and then put his leg down. Perhaps he was uncertain of his direction. But that's not going to be an improvement on his 6:10, and it's only a 5:06, so yes, he kind of half pulled out of that jump and maybe erring on the side of caution. So he remains in fourth place. It's Lex Gillette now who's leading with a 6:44. In bronze medal position is this man, Ruslan Kachev. He's had one foul and jumps of 6:15, 18 and 20. So he's had steady improvement before his fourth round foul.
Lex Gillette has won the last two World Championships in Doha and in Lyon. There is only major titles. Silver in London behind this man.
Kachev is set. He's chasing something over 6:40. Oh, I think he's fouled there. He's taken off in advance of the legal area. Yes, he's in front of the chalk, unfortunately, so that's a second foul for Kachev. His best remains at 6:20.
Well, now the first of the wheelchair races, and it's the women's 100 meters T53. So these are nominally the second fastest category of wheelchair races. We've got the reigning Asian, World and Paralympic Games champion in this. She's in lane 4, Lisha Huang. We also have the European champion in the form of Samantha Kinghorn from Swansea 2 years ago. Hamide Kurt won an impressive amount of medals at the recent European Championships in Grosseto. It's the top 3 who qualify for the final and the next 2 fastest losers. Lisha Huang, who's won gold and the 1, the 2 in the last 2 Paralympic Games in London and Beijing before that. It's a real quality field here. Hamide Kurt, the reigning European champion. Samantha Kinghorn not competing in Grosseto. A few of the biggest names found themselves in that position for Britain. They decided to skip it and concentrate on the Paralympic Games, and others decided to go, such as David Ware, and contest titles, as they would be doing here. So pretty much everybody in this has won a major title at one stage or another. So let's go through the field then, starting off with Lisha Huang. She's won the last 3 World Championship titles, the last 2 Paralympic Games titles. She's the world record holder, Paralympic record holder, and she won 2 gold medals at the most recent Asian Games. Samantha Kinghorn for Great Britain from the Red Star Club in Glasgow, the 2014 European champion over 100, 400 and 800. Bronze in the 200 in Doha. Lana DuPont, 5th in the 200 metres in Doha, the World Championship, 6th in the 1, 7th in the 4. Did brilliantly at the Pan Ams in Toronto. And Hamide Kurt, the new European champion over 100 and 400 for Turkey. Silver in the 100 in Doha at the World Championships, and In the previous Europeans in Swansea, 3 European silvers.
So they'll come up to the line shortly. It's been quite a delay. There's a bit of action on other parts of the arena, but now they're drawn up to the line. 4 in it: China, Great Britain, Canada and Turkey from the inside.
So Huang, Kinghorn, DuPont and Kurt, and they are away. And Huang off to a very, very good start. The world record is hers, 16:22. She's going to win this, but how fast does she want to go? Sammy Kinghorn in second place for Britain, Kurt in third for Turkey. Huang Lisha's not easing up, 16:20. I make that a world record. How about that in the opening morning?
An unbelievable push from Huang Lisha. She got away so fast. It was a question of maintaining and improving that pace, and she's done it well. On season best form, she's only 0.15 quicker than Samantha Kinghorn, but Huang Lisha, a class above.
And that's been rounded down as well, and it was a fantastic start by her. Kurt getting very well also. Kinghorn then came to the fore marvellously. Might have got a European record there, but Huang didn't ease up at all. 100% all the way.
No easing up. Maybe she felt she had a world record in her. She knew she was in that kind of form, and she went for it. She got it. And we've said more than once that this is a pretty good track. It's yielding plenty of records, and it's just yielded a world record for Huang Lisha of China with a 16:19. She's taken 3/100ths off her own world mark set in Beijing. Almost 8 years to the day.
Well, as if they didn't know already, she's the one to beat. And how? And she could have eased up. We've seen a few athletes with fast times in them just decide to glide. None of that from Huang Lisha.
I think it's a good idea to practice going hard. You know, don't get into some bad habits. We saw a compatriot of hers make a mistake at the line in a 400, but Huang Lisha pushed it hard all the way. And that is impressive.
That's ominous for everyone else. A world record. Huang Lisha, 16.19 seconds. Kinghorn second, Kurt in third, but both can go much faster than that. That's the top 3 who are automatically through.
Back to the men's long jump, which is still being led by Lex Gillette. D'Oliveira of Brazil sitting second, and Kachev of Ukraine third. Chen now in 7th position. His first attempt was his best, 5:74. Try and get it up over 6 meters. Well, he was well back in the area. You see he's about in line with 5 meters, but obviously, as we've mentioned more than once, that they'll take it from where his foot lands in the chalked area. In fact, he was behind it, so, you know, he's giving up centimeters there. The measurements taken from the start of the chalked area in that instance. So he's let a few centimeters slip away, so that won't be his best effort. It's 5:40. Odair Santos is next in the order. He's been very consistent between 5:69 and 6:05, Santos. This is his final attempt. A few jumpers have just moved past him in the last couple of rounds. He was threatening a podium position, but not at the moment. He's got to find something. 6:20 is the third best at the moment from Kachev. Porras to go. Oh, no. He's taken off in front of the chalked area again, so that's a second foul for Porras. He's had 4 legal attempts, but no advance on his best effort, unfortunately, for the Spaniard this time.
So now the second heat to the women's 100 metres T53, and in this the former world champion Angie Ballard of Australia and the reigning Pan Am champion from Bermuda but based in Mississauga, western strip of Toronto where the airport is, Pearson Airport. Here she is, Jessica Cooper-Lewis. Actually, that's Kelsey Lafort of the United States, who is in lane 4, alongside her, Jessica Cooper-Lewis. Zhao Hongzhuan of China in 5. Angie Ballard, the reigning world champion over 200 and 400 in this T53, bronze in the 8. Commonwealth Games reigning champion over 1,500 metres. She's in 6. And Zeynep Asset of Turkey is in lane 7, who we saw in the European Championships. That was her major championship debut. And Zhou of China, the reigning Paralympic 400 and 800 metres champion from London, and silver in the 2 as we get underway here. Good start it was by Zhou. Saw compatriot Zhang smash her own world record in the first heat. Zhou going very well. Angie Ballard coming out well now in second place. Lafort of the United States in third. Zhou will take it. 16.65 with Ballard in second place, Lafort in third, and Lewis fourth.
Very strong start from Zhou. Who knows if she perhaps took some inspiration from Huang's world record, but China taking top spot in both heats of the women's 100 T53. Angie Ballard not as quick away from the line, but the Australian on this side of Zhou certainly finished very strongly. It's come home comfortably in second position, ahead of Kelsey Lefebvre of the United States. But the Chinese athletes in this event looking good for a 1-2. Huang and Zhou. Ballard may have just been easing up a little, knew that the lead was a little too much and that she was doing enough to get through. 16.64 for Zhou. That's half a second outside Huang's time.
2 comfortable Chinese victories we've seen in what are semi-finals of the women's 100 metres T53. Zhao taking that. And we'll see a lot of these athletes. The same with the T54s, they're multi-talented. So Zhao, 16.64 takes it. Ballard also through 16.80 for Australia. Kelsey Lefebvre for the United States third in 17.28. And Jessica Cooper-Lewis also through for Bermuda as one of the 2 fastest losers, which means the punt will be as well for Canada in 17.81. But look at the top of that list. Huang Lisha, 16.19, a world record in the opening round in the semis. Men's long jump heading towards its climax in the T11.
So, Young, Chinese Taipei, just outside the medals at the moment with his 6.10. Needs to find another 10 centimetres. May have done. It was a pretty good jump. Yang Chuan Hui. He's had a good competition. Hasn't fouled, but with his 5th attempt, watching he bailed out of it really, but not this time. He gave it everything. Looking to eclipse Kachev's 6:20. Oh, he's threatened it, but not quite made it. 6:12. He saved his best till last, but it's not quite good enough to push him into the medals. Oh, Kachev trying to get the crowd involved and on his side. Not that the crowd wants him to beat their man, Ricardo Costa de Oliveira, who's sitting in second place. But they've been very fair.
A couple of no attempts in the previous rounds, but prior to that, 6-meter jumping all the way. He needs the best here, though. I'm not sure he used the board there, Steve.
No, he let himself down a bit with that and gets up a little gingerly. I hope that's not injury, but just disappointment. He thanks the crowd for their support. I like to see that. But he was, oh gosh, 7 or 8 centimetres short of the area. So that's the distance that he surrenders. Sells himself a bit short there and comes up with a 5.90.
But we have a fascinating situation then, because Lex Gillette, who is our leader, has already had his final attempt. There is one jump left in the competition, and it's the man a centimetre behind in the silver medal position for Brazil, Ricardo Costa de Oliveira. And this, the attempt that can win him the gold.
So Gillette has a 6.44. De Oliveira has a 6.43. It doesn't get any tighter. It was 6.43 with his previous attempt. So he's been consistent when he hasn't fouled. 6.30 and 6.40. One jump to come. Can he find a couple of centimetres? Ricardo Costa de Oliveira.
Oh, the crowd love that.
Good hang time from de Oliveira.
He might have just produced Brazil's first golden moment of the Paralympics.
He's asking his guide, how good is it? He gave that absolutely everything. And the crowd did so well to keep quiet on the runway. Normally they might be screaming their lungs out, but not for this competition. They've been brilliant.
They might do in a moment. It's waiting time. Oh, he's done it! And it's gold for Brazil in the opening morning. It's 6:52.
Unbelievable for de Oliveira and for this Brazilian crowd. They're all on their feet on that side. The long jump taking place. So close to them. And de Oliveira has just made the jump of his life. He's leapt into history.
He's not the only one jumping, is he?
A 6.52. And he has thrilled this crowd.
It was the very last jump of the competition. Lex Gillette, that great world champion, in the gold medal position. He'd had his final effort. There was nothing more he could do except wait. Hear the crowd noise. That would have worried him a bit, having heard how much the crowd loved it first time.
So 6.52 does it for Ricardo Costa de Oliveira, and he can barely believe it. Certainly can't contain his excitement. Why should he? He's feeding off this crowd as they acclaim their first winner at the track and field at these 2016 Paralympic Games. What a delight for him and for them. He had to find a couple of centimetres. He found much more than that. And he's going to find a gold medal around his neck when the presentation time comes.
He's going to find himself in all the front pages tomorrow in Brazil. Don't worry about that. It's getting huge attention here, and even more so now because on the opening day in the Olympics they had to wait quite a few days for their first gold medalist, which came in judo. But it's the opening athletic session that's produced Brazilian gold already.
And what a way to do it. I'll be writing about this one. And Ricardo Costa de Oliveira waited till his final attempt to steal the gold from Lex Gillette.
Well, we have to pay tribute to Lex Gillette as well. He's been a brilliant world champion in the last two global events.
Great patience from Costa de Oliveira because two of his first three attempts were fouls. His second attempt, 6:41, stood for quite a while. Gillette bettered it with his 6:44 in round 5. And de Oliveira had a 6:43 in round 5. He had one attempt left.
Well, he's on his lap of honour now, and he was going to stop it, but his guide has just said there are more people who want to say hello to him. You don't blame them, and you don't blame him. He's coming out right in front of us. A lot of the bottom tier pretty much full here. Well, he's gone as far as he can, I fear. Oh, it's a magnificent victory for Brazil. And that was a superb competition because it weaved one way then the next. Katishev had a great chance of gold to retain his title from London 2012. And the first victory ceremony of Rio 2016 will be the men's shot put F12. That's medium visual impairment. And we saw a lot of this earlier.
Yes, eventually won by Kim Lopez Gonzalez, ahead of Saman Pakbaz of Iran and Ukraine's Roman Danyuk.
Presentation party, the Spanish sports minister. That's good timing. Well, there's Andrew Parsons, the IPC vice president. Inigo Mendes de Vigo, who's the Spanish sports minister, is involved in the presentation party here, and it will be bronze for Roman Danyuk of Ukraine. 15.94 he threw. The world champion in the shot in Doha last year, but it's a different shade for him today.
His 15.94 came with his third attempt. A bronze medal for Danyuk of Ukraine. Well, we saw the excitement from Saman Pakbaz of Iran when in his final attempt he threw 15.98 to move past Danyuk into second position. That's a personal best from the Iranian and a silver medal. There were 5 personal best throws from our final 8. But for Kim Lopez Gonzalez, 16:44. He's won it by almost half a metre. A personal best for him as well.
And normally the discus is his best event. World champion in that previously. Won a bronze in the shot at the World Championships in Doha. That was his best shot performance ever. I'm taking it that's the Spanish sports minister. It's real, don't worry, Kim. So it's gold for Spain and Kim Lopez Gonzalez. Superb victory, and having done so well in the discus for so many years, now he's emerging in the shot.
The smile of medal winners is so infectious, isn't it? The joy and the relief and pride all mixed in together. It all bubbles out. Great moments.
Well, it's been an exceptional opening session. Track action is done for now. As you'll see, crowd-wise, that back straight where the long jump has been on, just about full as it is behind the finish line.
Well, I think the crowd would be a chunk of them that is hoping that the long jump medal presentation is happening, but that's in the later session. So that if they stick to schedule here, we should have the men's discus victory ceremony, and Oliveira's medal will come in the later session. The schedule that we had before us, at least. You know, there is something to be said, I suppose, Will, if you watch the event, you want to see the medals presented for the events you saw when it's a final, but can't always be arranged.
It's true, it's not always possible, especially if it's been a very, very long event. And some of the seated throwing competitions, which we'll see later on, you could have 12, 13, 14 in this, and everybody has their 6 throws at once. So you may have a 10-minute block in position, a couple of minutes to warm up, a couple of warm-up throws. So those competitions could go on for about 3 hours. And I guess if you put a lot into that, in the end, you're not really going to want to, I guess, go through a medal presentation as well, unless, of course, you win a medal.
Yeah. But there are logistical reasons, I'm sure, that the schedule happens the way it does. "'Twas ever thus," as they say. But
we are due men's discus F52 victory ceremony shortly. And we were due the men's 5,000 metres T11 victory ceremony earlier, actually, which we never got round to. Now, it may just have been the case that we're a little bit behind schedule on the track, and you can't have any other activity on when there's a victory ceremony taking place. So it may just have been that was bumped in order to get the track action back on schedule a little bit. We speculate, of course. That's way up in the gods. That's up in the 5th level alongside the print media section. So you get a great view from up there. It's normally a football stadium, this as well. It goes by 4 names. It's the Olympic Stadium. It's also the Estadio João Havelange, after the former FIFA president from around these parts. It's also the Estadio Nilton Santos, after one of Botafogo's greats. They're the resident football club here. Since the Pan Am Games in 07, they moved in shortly after. But most people call it the Engenhão, as that's the part of Rio where we're in.
That woman's done a great job to buy a shirt that matches the flag colour almost exactly.
That's fabulous.
As is that hat. I want one of those. There I am on the big screen. Football never far from the hearts and minds of Brazilian folk.
I'm actually impressed at the amount of local football jerseys that I've seen around, both at this and at the Olympic Games. That's Flamengo, the red and black stripes, one of the big clubs. They and Fluminense and Vasco share the Maracanã, but they'll have their own secondary stadiums as well if there's a very busy schedule. They actually schedule lots of football at the Maracanã in between the Olympics and the Paralympics. There was a Copa Sudamericana game there last week. Flamengo were playing Figueirense in it. No idea what the score was.
Yes, we've been parked, you and I, in Rio for quite a few weeks over the last couple of months, and the amount of football that is shown on television here, it's if you were hungry for it, you wouldn't go hungry.
I was here in January for one of the test events in powerlifting, and there's no senior football in Brazil in January. They've got regional championships for the first few months of the year, and then the national championship takes over. But they've got this big youth football competition, which is on in January, the Campeonato Sao Paulo. The final was on 5 individual TV channels all simultaneously. Even when there's not football on, there's football on.
Yes. What would you like to watch on television? Football or football? Anything you like, as long as it's football. That's all right.
It was impressive during the Olympic Games. I think the action was on 25 channels simultaneously. Every single network that could have had the Olympics had the Olympics, and it will be thus here for the Paralympic Games locally. We still have a couple of victory ceremonies down. The track action is done.
When there's nothing else to do in Rio, they dance. And I tell you what, that dance last night and the opening ceremony by Amy Purdy with the robot arm will live long in the memory of anyone who saw it. Snowboard Paralympian that worked very hard to get that dance right. He was coached at home in the United States and then here in Brazil, and she stole the hearts of the crowd at the Maracanã and perhaps anywhere it was being watched around the world. And the Brazilian coaches were so impressed that they could teach an American how to samba properly.
That was certainly a highlight of the opening ceremony. And I went along to it as a fan, no professional duty. And certainly it got the crowd, they got into it more and more the further that routine went on. Because they didn't have you to guide them. They would have had a little program in front of them, explaining.
I think
point of it.
The connection between technology and Paralympic sport is a really strong one, and when you think about it, it's quite an obvious one, because the technology of the wheelchairs, the technology of the prosthetics is very important to Paralympic sport, and that relationship was being explored in a most creative and delightful way. course, she had already been a finalist on Dancing with the Stars, so she knew how to move, but to do a South American dance in front of a South American crowd, you need to do it well, and she certainly did that.
Now we're due to see someone similar during the week, Giusy Versace, because she was in the final of the Italian Dancing with the Stars. I think she might have actually won it, but she was a guest on the American version. She was in a road crash a few years ago, which is why she's in this para-sport world. And she is one of the Versace. She was working for the family, but she too has had success in the Italian version of the same program. So we may see her dancing too.
We've got some future dancing stars here for sure. You look around and see some of the young folks enjoying the day. I'm not sure how they all get a Thursday off. Yesterday was a public holiday. Doesn't matter, they're here. That's great. So we think we're standing by for a victory ceremony or two, but we'll know shortly.
Well, the crowd are still here, so they're waiting for something.
In the morning session schedule, the two things that we've not seen that we should have are the victory ceremony for the men's 5,000 T11, which was the first event of the day, and the men's discus F52. Let's check that result for you.
You can see the crowd are still very enthused, and they're not going anywhere for now. And if they're not going anywhere, then neither are we.
Yes, the Latvian Aigars Apinis was the winner of that 52 discus. And Poland's Robert Jakimovic and Velimir Sandor of Croatia.
He's quite a good athlete, Happiness, actually. He's a four-time world champion. Won the shot in London and the discus in Beijing. So it's the third Paralympic Games where he's won a title. Latvian Man of the Year, Sportsman of the Year in 2012, actually. We didn't see a huge amount of that, but Happiness did enough to get the win for Latvia. So Happiness will be even happier.
I could sense something coming there. Happiness is the winner.
Men's long jump certainly a highlight in the competition as well. Absolutely. Definitely from a Brazilian point of view, Ricardo Costa de Oliveira taking that. As we saw, Kim Lopez Gonzalez claiming the men's shot put F12.